Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent, continuing to relate the story of his strangest experience as Superman, tells how the amused skepticism of Jim Olsen led the Man of Steel into adventures in space.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal, Dan McCullough. Say, here's a bit of good advice. How about making it a point to hang around when Mom is making out her grocery list so that you can be sure that she remembers to put down some Kellogg's Pep? Sure, you like to eat lots of this sunny golden toasted cereal, and you want to collect more of those comic buttons in the new series that Pep is putting out. They're honeys, aren't they? The colors are so bright and clear, they look mighty smart pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. And the pictures of your funny paper characters are sure true to life. Why, Spud and Cindy and the Little Moose and Superman look so real they could talk. And don't forget how easy it is to collect all 18 Pep comic buttons in this new series. You don't have to send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time that Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep, there's your comic button inside. And Mom's always tickled to see you eat lots of Pep, too, because it gives you extra amounts of an energy vitamin, B1, plus the sunshine vitamin, vitamin D. Not to mention the fact that you like Pep for its catchy sunshine flavor. Yes, sir, Pep's the prize when it comes to crisp, fresh, flavory eating at breakfast. So ask Mom to get P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now, the adventures of Superman.
Assigned by my editor, Perry White, to do a special feature on what, in my opinion, was Superman's strangest and most unusual adventure, I, as Clark Kent, recalled a story that began one day shortly after dusk, when I and all the other members of the Daily Planet editorial staff were out. At that time, as I learned later, a tall, middle-aged man wearing shorts and sandals was ushered into my office, where he found Jimmy Olsen alone. Calling himself Anthar, the man said he had come from another planet, a place called Utopia, in search of Superman. But Jimmy, believing he was the victim of a practical joke, scoffed at the man, who then offered to make a test to prove he was speaking the truth.
Please take hold of my arm, young man, and lift me up.
Lift you up?
Exactly. Simply grasp my arm and lift, as you would if you were holding a stick.
I still think this is a gag. If you insist, here goes.
Warily approaching the stranger, Jim grasped him firmly by the arm and lifted. And to his shocked amazement, he found himself holding the 163-pound man aloft with as little effort as it would require for me as Superman to lift a chair.
What? Holy mackerel, I am lifting you up. Like a feather.
Of course you are. Now move me about, up and down, and from side to side. That's it. Do not be afraid.
I can't believe it. You're a full-grown man. I better put you down. I'm shaking all over.
Just set me in that chair, please, to which I can hold. You see, I have not yet adjusted myself to the different gravity of your planet.
Give me that again.
The pull of specific gravity on my own planet, Utopia, is much stronger than yours on Earth, you see.
Oh.
Forgive me while I swallow 2 of these beans. They affect the necessary adjustment of my body to Earth's gravity.
The beans do that?
Yes, they are specific gravity beans, especially prepared by our utopian scientists for the adjustment of our people to the gravity of your planet. There.
Look, how long do you have to eat those, specific gravity beans before you're adjusted?
About 6,000 laps revolution.
Huh?
On Utopia, we measure time differently than you do here, since our planet is smaller and revolves around the sun at a slower rate of speed than does Earth. 6,000 laps revolutions is equal to about 1 of your hours.
Oh. Well, look, Anthar.
Great space. I have forgotten how time is fleeting. I have already been on Earth for 2,000 lapse revolutions, and I must depart in just 4,000 more.
6,000 in an hour. That means you have to leave in 40 minutes, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Why?
Else we must wait another full cycle of the solar period, and that would be most dangerous for us.
Us?
Yes, Poco and I. We must...
Who's Poco?
My companion. Now, please, friend James...
You mean there's another guy from Utopia here?
Yes, I will explain later if there is time. Now, friend James, that I have convinced you I am from Utopia, will you please summon Superman?
Now, look, Anthar, I admit you had me buffaloed for a minute there when I lifted you up. I don't know how you did the trick, but I certainly...
Trick? You still think, then, that I seek to trick you?
Well, gee whiz, all this stuff about a planet named Utopia and gravity beams and lapse revolutions...
I speak the truth. I have told you that your world is in terrible danger, and yet you dare to waste the precious fleeting strokes of time doubting me.
Well, golly...
Do you dare to accept the responsibility for making a decision, of choosing to do nothing, while the means for the enslavement of your world are being prepared?
The enslavement of the whole world?
Exactly. And unless you heed me now, that enslavement is not far off.
Oh, now, quit your kidding. Hitler had ideas like that, and where to get him?
Compared to Saddam, my young friend, Hitler was only a blustering madman.
Compared to whom?
Saddam, the cruel and vicious one who has risen to great power as regent of Utopia by playing upon the panic of our people. And again I warn you that unless you heed me, Saddam will be regent of your entire world before long.
Excuse me for laughing, but that's really funny.
And still you mock me, foolish friend. What must I do to convince you that Saddam must and will take over your planet before the cycle of this year has run out?
Tell me why Zaram has to attack and take us over before the end of the year.
Because at the end of this cycle year, there will be no more planet Utopia.
What?
Yes. For the last 700 years, at approximately each turn of a century, a fragment of Utopia has been ripped away into space. And from a planet once almost half the size of Earth, we have been reduced to a territory not much larger than your own state of Vermont.
Gee whiz. You must find it kind of crowded.
Indeed we do. And what is much more serious is that another disaster, and our final one, is due to occur within a day or two of the 25th of next month. At that time, our scientists assure us the last remaining fragment of Utopia will be torn from its orbit and shattered to pieces in space.
Uh-oh.
And so Saddam counseled our people to invade and conquer the Earth.
Oh, I get it. So you came here to get Superman to stop him, huh?
Yes. Knowing this now, won't you please summon Superman before it is too late?
Gee whiz, Anthar, I don't know how to get him, honest. Sometimes when we need him badly, well, there he is. But I don't know where he comes from or where he goes.
Then where can we find Mr. White or Mr. Kent or Miss Lane?
Well, Miss Lane is away, and Mr. White and Mr. Kent are in an important conference. They can't be disturbed.
They must be disturbed. This is a matter of the security of the whole world.
Now, look, Anthar, I like you. I think maybe you're a little balmy, but...
Balmy?
Well, the point is, Mr. White and Mr. Kent would laugh at you if you told them the story you just told me.
They would laugh?
Oh, sure. Who wouldn't?
I see. And there is only one thing left to do. Convince you beyond the shadow of a doubt, so that you in time can convince them.
How are you going to do that?
I will take you back with me to Utopia.
Take me back? Now look, Anthar.
Yes, I see that is the only thing to do. Now, if you are willing to undergo the risks for the sake of your world...
Just a minute. Wait till I answer the phone. Hello, Olson speaking.
Hello, Jim. This is Clark Kent. How are you getting along?
Oh, fine, Mr. Kent. Just Andy.
But that is Mr. Kent. Perhaps if you allow me to speak to him...
No, that won't do any good, Anthar.
What'd you say, Jim?
Oh, I was speaking to Anthar, Mr. Kent.
Oh, to whom?
A guy named Anthar.
Anthar?
Well, a kind of magician who stopped in and...
No,
A
please.
magician?
Yeah, and can he do a swell trick?
Oh, Jim.
He let me lift him up in the air as if he were a feather.
Cut the raving, Jim. I only have a minute.
I'm not raving. Honest, you ought to see this guy.
All right.
And hear him.
What?
Can he tell him?
Tell him. Oh, well, that's fine. But look, the chief and I are going to be tied up with Inspector Henderson for a while yet, so you better go on home.
Okay. Unless I go to Utopia first.
All right, well, go... Where?
Utopia. That's another planet. And Anthar wants me to have a look at it so I can tell you and Mr. White and Superman about it.
Oh, I wish you'd grow up, Jim. I told you I only had a minute, and you sit there kidding.
But I'm not kidding.
No, I know. All right, you're knitting. Go on home. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Kent. Okay, Anthar. I'm ready to go to Utopia with you now.
Splendid. Let us go, my friend.
Still skeptical,
skeptical, but sufficiently amused to want to play along with what he considered a practical joke. Jim Olsen accepted Anthar's offer to take him to the planet Utopia.
What will happen now? Is Jim Olsen really committing himself to be hurtled through space toward a strange and unknown planet? We'll know more in a moment when we return to the suspenseful climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, there's never a dull moment when you're collecting comic buttons in that nifty new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep. For one thing, there are all kinds of comic strip characters. You know, I sort of counted them up, and here's what I found out. There are 4 women, you know, like Tess Trueheart and Cindy, 9 men like Vitamin Flintheart and Superman, and 5 young fellows and girls like Judy and Corky. That's pretty good total, isn't it? 18 different comic strip characters. Boy, is it a thrill to get a new button every time Mom opens a new package of Pep. And if it's a duplicate, why, that's even more fun because then you can trade with your pals. So get busy on your collection of Pep comic buttons. Just ask Mom to get you a package or 2 of Kellogg's Pep. Now, you don't have to send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere, but you'll find one in every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. And you'll find yourself in for some doggone good eating at breakfast, too, believe me. Why, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's loaded with that catchy sunshine flavor that keeps your spoon digging in again and again for more. These toasted whole wheat flakes are always crisp, too, fresh as can be. So, gang, remind Mom to get you some P.E.P. The Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now, back to Clark Kent's story of Superman's most unusual adventure.
Jokingly agreeing to accompany Anthar on a trip back to Utopia, Jim Olsen played along with what he thinks is a huge practical joke. But Anthar, his face grimly serious, admonishes him.
Friend James, I must warn you that if we are discovered on Utopia by Zaram, you may never return to Earth.
Oh, boy, this gets better and better. Well, how do we go? By rocket ship?
I have a space shell which Poco guards now upon the roof of this very building.
Oh, swell. Then all we have to do is go up to the roof and...
Yes, but we must leave at once, please. You see, there is only a certain lapse revolution during each 6 of your hours in which we can travel between Earth and Utopia. A moment too soon or too late, we will miss our destination and be lost forever in eternal space.
Okay, I'll take that chance. This way, Anthar. Let's go.
Still chuckling and thinking only of what an amusing feature story he will write about this funny experience, Jim Olsen led the strange man called Anthar to the stairway that goes up to the roof of the Daily Planet building. But Jim was in for the surprise of his life, and many more exciting experiences than he bargained for.
Clark Kent isn't fooling when he says that Jim Olsen let himself in for some amazing experiences. So don't fail to be with us again tomorrow when Kent continues his story of Superman's strange adventure on the Lost Planet. Yes, be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, answer me this. What does Snap, Crackle, and Pop stand for? Well, that's right, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice that snap, crackle, and pop in milk. They're so crisp they fairly sing. Now, you've probably heard them at breakfast time, and you've seen those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. So tomorrow morning, ask Mom for the cereal that's fun to listen to and fun to eat. The one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P Pep. Kellogg's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, as Clark Kent recounts another episode in Superman's strange adventure on a lost planet, he reveals how Jimmy Olsen learned that Anthar's tale of Utopia was not just a joke.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, talk about eye catchers. Boy, you can't beat that exciting new series of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Why, those bright-colored pictures of your favorite comic strip characters look so nifty, they'll attract anybody's attention. And the pictures are so true to life, well, you'd almost think that they're going to talk. Take Tess Trueheart, for instance, with her red suit and hat and that soft blonde hair of hers, like in the funny papers. And Brenda Starr looks mighty natural, too, with her red hair and that nice smile. And Superman, too. Yes, sir, every single one of those 18 different comic buttons is a real eye-catcher. So you keep working on your collection. You ask Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these exciting prizes, one in every package of Pep. Now, you don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. And say, gang, don't forget another reason why you want to keep stocked up on Pep. It tastes a doggone sunny and toasted, and it's good for you. Sure, Mom knows that. Kellogg's Pep gives you added amounts of an energy vitamin B1 and good old sunshine vitamin D, plus the goodness of sun-ripened whole wheat itself. Yes, sir, there are lots of reasons why you want lots of P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman.
My most unusual adventure as Superman began when, during my absence from the office, Jimmy Olsen interviewed a strange man who called himself Anthar and said he came from the planet Utopia in search of Superman. Well, Anthar told Jim that Utopia was doomed to destruction, and that the terrified Utopians were rallied behind a despotic and dangerous regent who was preparing to lead them in an invasion of the world. Then, when Jim laughed at his story and refused to help him locate me, that is, Superman, Anthar urged Jim to accompany him back to Utopia so that he might verify the story in person. Considering it all a joke, Jim agreed to go, and tossing a breezy, "I'm off to Utopia" at Beanie Martin, he led the tall, dignified Anthar to the dark roof of the Daily Planet building, where the man from Utopia said he had left his space shell.
Now, where's this planet hopper you're telling me about, Anthar?
My space shell rests on this roof, over there behind that radio tower.
Okay, lead the way. I'm not kidding, Anthar. You ought to write books or go on the radio. You can really spin a yarn.
I see you still doubt the truth of my story.
Who, me? Now, where did you ever get an idea like that?
I only hope, friend James, that once you are convinced, you will be able to return to Earth alive and enlist the aid of Superman.
Don't worry about me. Say, what's that?
What?
Well, that round white thing like a great big ball.
Of course. That is our space shell.
Cheapers. You have got something up here, then.
Naturally.
Hey, I gotta hand it to you. You really carry a gag all the way through.
I don't understand.
Skip it. Say, wait.
What is it now?
Look. There's a little fat man leaning against that big white ball.
Yes, of course. That is Poco. Come, let us join him.
Not so fast. Who's Poco?
The court fool.
The what?
The king's jester. You see, it is poor Poco's lot on Utopia to play the fool. But he is far from being a fool, and he has a great heart and much courage. He risked his life to make this expedition with me.
Oh, the king's jester, huh? Well, now you're back in the groove, Anthar. For a minute there, I don't know why, but you had me a little worried. Now I know it's all a gag. Okay, let's go join your funny friend. Listen, what's that?
What?
It sounds like a lot of little bells.
Yes, of course. Poco wears bracelets of tiny silver bells around his wrists and ankles. Come, I will introduce you to him.
Oh, boy, this is going to be something. Come on.
Hurry. Anthar, the solar clock races. We must go places.
Say, what kind of talk is that?
Poco speaks in rhyme. Yes, Poco, we are leaving now. This is James Olson, who returns to Utopia with us.
Oh?
Oh, glad to meet you, Mr. Poco.
To meet you is a pleasure that is far beyond measure.
Oh, thanks.
Tell me, Anthar, if you can, is this youngster Superman?
Me, Superman? Well, that's a hot one.
No, Poco. It is necessary that we convince this young man first of Zeram's plot against Earth, before he will enlist the aid of Superman, for he thinks we jest.
I do not see how this can be. You mean he returns with you and me?
Gosh, I wish I could talk like that.
Yes, Poco. He returns to Utopia with
Your
us.
plan, Anthar, is fraught with danger. Zeram would surely kill this stranger.
True, but Zeram must not see him.
If Zeram does not see him, then will Zeram's spies. You know they swarm Utopia thick as flies.
Oh, boy, you're wonderful, Poco.
Yes, I realize the danger is grave, Poco, but there is no other way.
Oh, dear. Anthar, you hear?
Yes.
What were those gongs?
They are the chimes of the solar clock within the space shell. They indicate we have only 300 lapse revolutions left before we must depart.
Only what?
That means we have less than 3 minutes now before we must start the space shell into the heavens if we are to arrive safely on Utopia. Open the hatch, Poco, quickly.
Hurry, worry.
Hurry, friend James, into the shell.
Hey, now, wait, Anthar. Quit pushing me.
Quickly, get into the shell.
And me get into that goofy glass ball? Why, I wouldn't...
It is not glass. It is the utopian plastic material. Now, hurry, please.
Nothing doing. I'm not getting into that thing.
You must. It is too late to change your mind.
Too late? Now, listen, this joke's gone far enough.
It is no joke. Poco, start the motors.
Yes.
Let go of me. I said I'm not gonna go...
Anthar, here, the clock again. Only seconds now remain.
Please, hurry, friend James. Do not make me use force.
Use force? But I changed my mind. I didn't know you...
I said it is too late to change your mind. Now, please, into the space shell.
Frightened now and struggling frantically in the powerful grip of Anthar, Jimmy is carried toward the large, gleaming plastic ball, which throbs with a hum of powerful motors. And at this tense moment, 3 floors below the roof, Editor Perry White and I were just entering the city room of the Daily Planet.
What are you going to do now, Kent?
Oh, I'll just have a look in my office, Chief, see if anything came up while we were gone, then I'll pick you up for dinner, okay?
Okay. Make it snappy.
Right. Matter, you lose something, Beanie?
No, I was just looking to see if that guy dropped any of his pills.
Who dropped what pills?
Well, you see, Mr. Kent, there was a goofy guy in here just before, was just about as old as the big boss. I mean Mr. White, but he was wearing sandals and a pair of shorts.
Who, Mr. White?
No, the old guy.
Oh.
And he kept eating little red pills out of a paper bag. Said if he didn't eat them, he'd just float up into no place.
Beanie, do you feel all right?
Honest, Mr. Kent, I'm giving it to you straight.
All right, take it easy.
This
Beanie.
old guy walks in here not more than half an hour ago, see? And he asks me for Superman, see?
For Superman?
Uh-huh. Nobody else but. So when I tell him Superman doesn't just happen to be around at the moment, he asks for the editor.
Uh-huh.
And when I say Mr. White isn't here either, he asks for you.
For me?
Yeah. And then when he finally gets it straight that none of the staff is here except Jim, he says, okay, we'll talk to Jim.
I see.
You should have heard the song and dance he gave him. All about how he comes from another planet or something. Boy, was he good.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. That Jim said something about a queer character being in the office when I phoned a little while ago. By the way, where is Jim?
I don't know. He went out with the old geezer.
Oh, where'd he go?
Search me.
He didn't say where he was going?
Except, this'll kill you.
What?
He said he was going to Utopia.
Oh, yes, he told me that, too. But what I want to
That
know
was
is...
the name of the planet the old goofus bird said he came from.
Oh?
Jim must have gone out with him to turn him over to his keeper. Well, I don't know why he isn't back yet.
Man, sounds like a really queer character.
Oh, you ain't kidding, brother. I mean, Mr. Kent, he looked sore when he went out with Jim, too.
No? Jim shouldn't have gone with him. How long ago did they leave, Beanie?
About 5 or 10 minutes ago.
Which way did they go?
Out into the corridor where the stairs and the elevators are.
I don't like this. Look, Beanie, tell Mr. White I'll be back soon, will you?
Yeah, sure, Mr. Kent.
I want to speak to the elevator operators. One of them may know where Jim went.
Okay, Mr. Kent. Gee, I hope there's nothing wrong.
As I hurried out to question the elevator operators, I was completely unaware of a strange scene involving Jimmy Olsen that was taking place on the roof overhead. A development that, had I witnessed it, would have sent me hurtling into action as Superman.
In just a moment, we'll return for the startling climax of today's episode in Clark Kent's story of Superman's strangest adventure. So keep listening.
Say, gang, isn't it swell that it's so easy to get comic buttons in the new series you're all collecting? Why, you don't have to spend a single penny of your allowance. They come right in packages of Kellogg's Pep. And they're so doggone smart-looking, you're mighty proud to wear 'em pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. Done up in full comic strip colors, you know, bright red and blue and black and yellow on white enameled metal buttons that you'll have for a long, long time. And each picture is so true to life. Goofy and Beezy and Superman look just the way they do in the funny papers. And here are some of the other funny paper characters in this new series, too. There's Brenda Starr and Cindy and Spud and the Little Moose. 18 of them in all, gang, so you better hop to it. Remind Mom to get you some more Kellogg's Pep. That's right. You don't buy these Pep comic buttons, but you get one in every package of Pep you open as an exclusive prize. And you get a load of good eating, too, when you open up a package of Kellogg's Pep, believe me. Fresh, crisp, delicious eating. Sunny, golden, toasted, super delicious eating. These whole wheat flakes are always fresh and crisp and good. So start your day off with P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As I said before, I was completely unaware that as I left to question the elevator operators about Jimmy Olsen, on the roof above me rested a large plastic ball. Inside it, seated before an elaborate instrument panel, was Poco, the little rhyming jester. And behind him sat Anthar, his arms locked about Jimmy, who was struggling to escape.
Let me go, I tell you. Let me out of here.
That is impossible now, friend James. In 50 lapsed revolutions, exactly 1/2 of a minute, we must depart.
But gee whiz, look, I don't want to go.
The clock has struck. We soon depart. I, for one, with a worried heart.
You'll be a lot more worried unless you let me out of here, you goons. Now, let me out of here.
Please stop struggling, friend James. I tell you it is useless.
The morning shine. This is the time.
Good. Take off, Poco.
No. Stop. Let me out of here.
Pushing the starting lever sharply forward, Poco sent the strange plastic ball hurtling from the roof of the Daily Planet. Whirling higher and higher with the speed of a rocket, it streaked upward through the night sky, and a moment later was lost to sight among the shimmering stars.
What happens now to Jim Olsen, captive of what appear to be two madmen in a weird projectile that is rocketing off into space? Whatever you do, gang, don't miss the next episode in Clark Kent's fascinating story of his strangest experience as Superman in The Mystery of the Lost Planet. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, you know what it means when Kellogg's Rice Krispies go snap, crackle, and pop in milk? Why, it means they're crisp. Crisp as crisp can be. Sure, Kellogg's Rice Krispies are the only cereal so crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop. That's why you see so much of those three famous little elves, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. They stand for the crispiness of Kellogg's golden bubbles of oven-puffed rice. The one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, in his story of Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent reveals how he learned that Jimmy Olsen had hurtled off into space with Anthar, the man from Utopia.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal, Dan McCullough. You know, I'd like to congratulate the person who thought up the idea of putting that new series of comic buttons in packages of Kellogg's Pep. I'd like to tell him that he thought up a swell idea, because these Pep comic buttons are just about the best thing that's happened in a long, long time. First off, they're so doggone smart-looking, shiny and gleaming as anything, with 18 different true-to-life pictures of your favorite funny paper characters, like the little Moose or Spud or Superman himself. Yes, sir, there's plenty of excitement when Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep, because that means that you get a new comic button for your collection. And that's how easy it is to get these swell prizes. You don't have to send in a single penny, not even a box stop, and you can't buy Pep comic buttons anywhere. They're your prizes from Kellogg's Pep. That's the Sunshine cereal, you know, the golden toasted whole wheat flakes with that catchy sunshine flavor. Why, just one glimpse of your breakfast bowl full of Pep is a surefire invitation to dig into a super delicious dish. And your first taste is so downright wonderful that, well, you're all set for some happy eating, believe me. So remind Mom right now that you'll eat lots of P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Assigned by editor Perry White to prepare a feature story on what, in his opinion, was Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent recalled an experience that began one day when Jimmy Olsen was alone in the editorial offices of the Daily Planet. Seated at his typewriter, Kent remembers...
Jimmy told me later that he laughed when the strange bearded man who called himself Anthar and claimed to come from the planet Utopia insisted that the Utopians were planning to invade and conquer the world. He was very much amused when Anthar offered to prove his truthfulness by taking Jimmy for a visit to Utopia. But he wasn't laughing very much when, a short time later, he was forced into a large plastic ball which Anthar called a space shell. And not at all when in a few minutes he found himself hurtling through space with Anthar and Poco, a little fat man who wore silver bells on his wrists and ankles and spoke only in rhyme. Since Jimmy is really a brave lad, he was resigning himself to an interesting experience when... suddenly, the plastic space shell began to dive amid the eerie shimmer and crackling of electricity in the upper stratosphere.
Hey, Anthony, what's happening now?
Do not be alarmed, friend James.
But we're diving. I can feel it.
Yes, we are descending to Utopia, I hope.
You hope?
If our computations were correct. That is, if we left the planet Earth at the exact lapsed revolution, and if nothing has happened to the time mechanism of our space shell, we should land safely on Utopia.
Oh.
What think you, Poco? How do we stand?
By the instrument board, all is well. As for the rest, who can tell?
Hey, what's that?
The signal indicates that we approach the orbit in which the planet Utopia whirls. Poco, depress the lever.
Please do not fret. I never forget.
Good.
We seem to be slowing up a little.
Yes. Now, if all goes well, we will land on Utopia very soon.
There's that gong again. Now what does it mean?
That we are now within the orbit of Utopia.
Oh, is that good?
It is indeed. Now, if...
Oh, please don't say if again. It gives me the willies.
Very well.
Say, the last time that gong rang, Poco pulled a lever. Shouldn't he do it again?
No. Once within the orbit of Utopia, the space shell controls itself automatically.
I see. Listen, what's that?
Now we descend, James, my friend.
Jeepers, sounds as if we're breaking apart.
Do not be alarmed. We are preparing to land.
Land? Oh, yeah. I see some yellow lights.
Oh, bless our shell. Now all is well.
Does Poco mean we're okay now, Anthar?
He does, friend James. In a brief lapse revolution or two, you will hear the landing gong. There.
Oh, hear the ground. Blessed ground.
Yes, yes. Poco, turn off the motors. Quickly, before someone hears it.
Oh, bless my eyes. I forgot the spies.
What'd he say about spies, Anthar?
Zaram's spies are all about, so we must be very careful. Open the hatch, Poco, carefully.
I'll be very quiet to avoid a riot.
Zaram is the bad guy who runs this place, isn't he?
Yes, he is indeed a bad man who has risen to seize the position of regent by playing upon my people's fears.
Come, let us leave the shell while all is yet well.
Yes, Poco. Step out, friend James, but quietly, please.
Oh, okay. Say, what's that music I hear?
You do not really hear music.
But I do.
Hush, not so loud. Your voice may draw a crowd.
Poco is right. Speak low.
Okay. But what's that music?
I say you do not hear music. It is merely the vibrations of our sound waves, which are different from those on Earth. In a moment, as your ears become accustomed to it, you will not hear anything.
Say, you're right. It's fading away.
You see?
Say, where are we? I can't see much.
We are in the park in the city of Regis, which is the capital of Utopia.
Utopia? Oh, now, look, all kidding aside, are we really on a different planet?
You are on Utopia.
I can't believe it.
Look, Anthar, we should not stay. We must at once go away.
You are right, Poco. Come, friend James. We will go to my house where you will be safe.
Now, wait a minute. I don't know that I want to go to your house.
Please, let us go away. It's dangerous to delay.
We come, Poco. Friend James, I said I would bring you here to Utopia and prove to you that I speak the truth. But you must listen to me now and come to my house. If you are discovered by Zaram's spies, it will mean your death, and death for me and Poco, too.
Well, all right, but I don't like the idea. Hey, who's holding me?
What do you mean? No one holds you.
Somebody must be holding me. I can't move.
Please, do not play. We must run, I say.
Who's playing? I tell you, someone's holding me. I can't move.
Great space, Poco. We have forgotten.
Forgotten what? I know if not.
Friend James is from Earth. The heavier gravity of Utopia holds him fast to the ground.
Oh, Gloom. This spells his doom.
Help me, Anthar. I can't move my feet off the ground.
Do not lose courage, friend James. As soon as we have adjusted your body to the heavier gravity of Utopia, you will move as freely as you did on Earth.
But how are you going to do it?
There is a way. A dangerous way.
What is the way? Please, Anthar, say. Anthar, you hear? It is a guard, I fear.
Great space. We must hurry.
But I can't move a muscle.
Quickly, Poco. Help me to carry our friend.
Carry him where? Fear whitens my hair.
You'll carry him to the compression chamber. Hurry.
Yeah, for Pete's sake, hurry.
You take him by the arms, Poco. I will carry him by the feet. Now, lift.
All right. This will take all my might.
There. He is off the ground. Now we can carry him. Come, quickly now.
Gee whiz, Anthar. Do you think we'll get away with this?
Do not worry, friend James. Goss, the inventor of the compression chamber, is our friend, and he works secretly with us against Saram. His chamber would adjust your body to Utopia's weight of gravity.
I sure hope so. I was never in a pickle like this before.
Courage, friend James. Goss's house and laboratory are close at hand.
Can't be too close to suit me.
Oh, if only Poco's bells did not tinkle so.
Yeah, they do make a racket, don't they?
I think of them, too, but what can I do?
Oh, nothing, of course, Poco, since they cannot be removed. If only we can reach Goss's house before the guards stumble on the space shell.
Oh, if only. Boy, you guys sure got me in a swell mess.
It is for the sake of your own.
Come quickly!
Who's that?
The guards. They must have discovered the space shell.
Holy smokes.
Oh, Anthar, my friend, this is truly the end.
Yes, Jimmy was really in a spot that time as the shouting guards came closer and closer to Anthar and Poco, who were doing their best to run with the burden of his dead weight. And all the time here on Earth, I was completely unaware of Jimmy's predicament.
In just a moment, we'll return for the exciting climax in today's episode of Clark Kent's story. So keep listening.
You know, it's hard to figure out what's the most fun about collecting comic buttons in that new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep. There's the fun in adding to your collection every time Mom opens a new package of Pep. You know, when you've collected 3 comic buttons while you're looking forward to getting the 4th. And when you've got 4, you're wanting that 5th. And on up until someday, you're ready for your 18th. And, of course, if you should get a duplicate, well, that's even more fun because then you can trade with your friends and then you can still add to your collection. And believe me, gang, you're going to want all 18 of these snappy Pep comic buttons. Goofy and Beezy and the Little Moose and Superman and all the rest. So you better hop to it. Ask Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep because that's the only way you can get these exclusive prizes. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you'll find a bright-colored comic button inside every package of Pep you open. And boy, does Kellogg's Pep help to pep up breakfast. Why, those toasted flakes of good whole wheat taste so sunny and crisp, practically can't resist them. Sure, it's that famous sunshine flavor that does the trick. So remind Mom to get you some P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
At about the same time that Anthar, Poco, and Jimmy were trying to evade Zaram's guards on Utopia, here on Earth, Editor Perry White and I were just stepping out on the roof of the Daily Planet building in search of our young friend.
What's the idea of dragging me up here, Kent?
Because the elevator operator said he brought Jim and that madman to the roof a few minutes ago.
Oh, nonsense. What would they come up here for?
I don't know. Certainly wish I did.
He must have been mistaken. See, no one's up here.
Oh. Well, then where did Jim go, Chief?
Probably went out for a malted milk or something. You know he's always hungry.
No, I don't think he went out to eat. Not with that old character, anyhow.
Now, look, Kent. This is probably one of Jim's stupid practical jokes.
Oh.
Chances are he's back in the office right now, waiting to give us the horse laugh.
No, he's not in the office.
How do you know he isn't?
What? Why, uh-oh.
Well, now what?
There's someone over there by the radio tower. Come on.
Oh, where?
Can't tell who it is yet. Lying on the roof.
Is it Jim?
No. What? Why, it's Tom Carlson. Who? Tom Carlson, the news announcer in our radio studio. Oh. Tom, wake up, fella.
Oh, what's the matter with him?
I don't know. Oh, wait a minute. He's coming to.
What happened?
Well, that's what I want to know.
What are you doing up here, Carlson?
What happened to you, Tom?
Jim, listen.
Yes?
Jim.
What about Jim?
Speak up, Carlson. Speak up.
Tom. Uh-oh, he passed out.
Great Caesar. Tom, what happened to Jim?
Anxiously, Editor White and I bent over the unconscious radio announcer, making every effort to bring him around, and hoping with all our might that he would be able to give us a clue to what had happened to Jim. This, I can tell you, was a very tense moment for me.
There are many thrills and much excitement to follow in Clark Kent's fascinating story of Superman's most interesting adventure, The Mystery of the Lost Planet. So don't miss a moment of it. Be sure to tune in again Monday. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, do you know how crisp Kellogg's Rice Krispies are? Why, they're so crisp they snap, crackle, and pop in milk. Sure, that's their song of crispiness. It means that these golden bubbles of oven-popped rice are crisp as crisp can be. And whenever you see those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop in cartoons or on the Rice Krispies package, you think of how light and delicate and crisp this grand breakfast dish is. So tomorrow morning, ask Mom for the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent continues his narrative of Superman's most unusual adventure and recounts the details of Jimmy Olsen's predicament on the planet Utopia.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, even if you'd never read a comic strip in the funny papers, you'd still want to collect all 18 comic buttons in that new series Kellogg's Pep is putting out. Because the colors are so bright and clear, those buttons really show up when you wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. But since you know all the characters and follow their adventures all the time, why, it's even more fun. Yes, and they look true to life, too, so real they could speak. Take the little moose, for instance, with his arms folded on his chest and that feather in his black hair. Or Vitamin Flintheart, derby hat and long hair and fur coat and all. Or Superman himself, complete with flying red cape and Superman insignia. Yes, sir, these pep comic buttons are mighty nifty. And they're so easy to get. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. And you can't buy them anywhere. The only way that you can get them is to ask Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep and look for your comic button inside every package you open. And look for some doggone good eating, too, because Pep's a ringer when it comes to crispness and flavor. Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. Every spoonful of those grand whole wheat flakes is loaded with sunny, golden toasted goodness that keeps you digging in for more. Fact is, gang, Pep tastes just as good as it is good for you. So remind Mom to get you some P-E-P. The Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. In writing an account of his most unusual adventure as Superman, Clark Kent told of a strange bearded man named Anthar who insisted to Jimmy Olsen that he came from the planet Utopia to warn of an invasion of the Earth. Jimmy, we learned, scoffed at Anthar's story until he was forced into a spherical space shell, piloted by a little fat man whom Anthar called Poco and who spoke only in rhyme. And a very short while later, Jimmy found himself on the planet Utopia where, because of a difference in gravity, he was unable to move. Then, while Anthar and Poco were carrying him to safety, they were spotted and pursued by vicious guards of the cruel ruler Zaram. Now, Kent continues with his story.
Worried about Jimmy's disappearance with a strangely dressed, peculiar-acting old man, Editor White and I went up to the roof of the Daily Planet where we learned the boy had gone. He was, of course, nowhere in sight. Instead, we found Tom Carlson, a radio announcer, unconscious. While the chief ran off to call a doctor, I worked over Tom, and in a few moments he began to come to.
Oh, Kent, is that you?
Yes, Carlson. What happened to you, fella?
Why, holy smokes, Kent. Jim Olsen.
Yes, what about Jim? Did you see him up here on the roof?
Yes. That is, I think I did.
Look, Tom, maybe you better start from the beginning and tell me everything that happened.
Well, I just finished our hourly news broadcast.
Yes.
I came up on the roof here for a breath of air. I often do that.
Yes, just go on.
I started to walk across the roof, and I heard a funny noise, kind of a high-pitched whine, like, well, sort of like electric motors of some kind.
Electric motors?
That's right. Then I saw the strange contraption, a big spherical thing, like a great big ball of some sort.
And the motor sound was coming from that?
Yes. This thing was gleaming in the dark, and it was transparent. I could see right into it, like into a lighted room.
Wait a minute, Tom. Are you sure you're not still kind of fuzzy?
No, Kent, I'm not. I tell you, I looked right inside that ball, Kent. There sat Jimmy.
Jimmy? Jimmy Olsen?
Yes. He was struggling with a tall, thin man dressed in shorts.
Scott, the madman.
And another man, a little fat guy, was working levers in the forward part of the sphere. I started over there when all of a sudden, whoosh, the ball shot off the roof as if it had been fired out of a cannon.
What?
No kidding. Jets of air shot out of the ball when it took off and knocked me back against the tower. Before I passed out, I swear I saw it shooting up to the stars.
Utterly and completely shocked by Tom Carlson's story, I just stood there and stared at him, for the moment unable to believe what I'd heard. And at that time, I learned later from Jimmy, he was thousands of miles away on the planet Utopia. There, he and Anthar, surrounded by armed guards dressed in gleaming tunics of woven metal, were marching down a long, high-vaulted corridor.
Where are these guards taking us, Anthar?
Take us to the evil region, Zaram, friend James. I would advise you to expect the worst.
Jeepers.
Oh!
Golly. Now what?
Zaram's council room is behind these tall doors.
Uh-oh. Then this is it, huh?
Let's be quiet.
Inform His Excellency that I bring the prisoners.
Anthar, how come Poco isn't here with us?
He was taken away by the guards while you were in the compression chamber.
Taken away? To where?
I do not know.
Gee whiz, you don't suppose they did something to poor Poco, do you?
I do not know.
Anthar, look.
Be silent now.
You may bring in the prisoners. Very well. Prisoners, march!
Come, friend James.
Boy, what a room. Big as a house.
This was formerly the king's own council room.
The stained glass windows and the paintings and rugs.
The prisoners will advance.
Come, walk with me, friend James.
That guy up there on the high throne. Is
Yes, that is Zaram.
Huh. He doesn't look like much.
His appearance is deceiving.
Holy smokes. Look who's sitting on that cushion at Zaram's feet. Look, it's Poco.
Prisoners, halt!
say that to us, Anthar?
Yes, but I do not understand.
Anthar's a spy, and soon he will die.
What?
And you Earthling, too. Your end is due.
Well, how do you like that look, Poco?
Silence, Earthling! You, Anthar. You call the Earthling friend?
Is not that the usual greeting in Utopia, Excellency?
Among ourselves, yes. Not to our enemies.
The boy is not an enemy.
No, of course I'm not.
Is he not from the Earth?
Yes,
And are not they of the Earth our future foes?
I trust not, sire. I have attempted to convince you that you make a dreadful mistake in your plan to invade the Earth.
You attempt to convince me. Who are you to dare to challenge your regent?
I do not challenge. I only assume my right as the senior senator of the council to advise you.
I've heard your advice, and I decided against it. You dared to cross me secretly, dared even to go to our enemies and warn them of our intentions. That Anthar makes you a traitor.
He is not a traitor, and Poco knows it.
What is this? Poco knows what?
Well, Poco was... Quiet, James. Anthar, Poco's saying...
Silence, Earthling! Well, Poco, it appears that the Earthling gives the lie to your story. He seeks to imply that you know more of Anthar's trip to Earth than you told me.
It is a lie. A lie what he seeks to imply. It's just as I said. I was asleep in my bed.
If that is so, I'm reminded to ask how came you in the park when the guard captured Anthar and the Earthling?
Yeah, let's hear you answer that.
James, please.
Answer, fool! How came you in the park?
Well, there was a pain in my head. So I rose from my bed and strolled in the park to hear the song of the lark. Then down came the space shell close where I stood. Oh, so startled was I, my legs turned to wood. But when I saw them step out, they aroused my ire, for I knew they meant ill, to use Aram, sire. And so swift I gave chase, and when the guards came, I held fast the two villains. And now, me you dare to blame.
Well, how do you like that?
Do not deny him, friend James.
But Anthar...
Please,
You, Anthar! Does the fool speak the truth?
Yes, sire, he does.
What say you to that, Earthling?
Why, I guess that's the way it was.
Good. I did not think the fool could dare be treacherous to me.
No, I could not be, sire. For you I love and admire.
Enough! Anthar, you admit then that you went to the Earth to warn our enemies? That you brought this young one back to spy upon us?
No, Saddam. I admit nothing.
Naturally. What say you, Earthling? You deny coming here to spy on us?
My name isn't Earthling, it's Jim Olsen, and I didn't come here to spy.
I've heard enough to convince me that you both lie. Therefore, I, Zeram, Regent of Utopia, sentence you both, you, Anthar, and you, Earthling, to be placed within a sealed space shell, to be thus hurled out into great space itself, where you shall perish. While Anthar bowed his head as a token of submission, Jimmy's face drained of color as the realization of the fate to which Zeram had doomed him struck home. Alone, a stranger on a faraway planet, with no hope of contacting me, the boy felt there was no hope.
In just a moment, we'll return for the climax of today's episode of Clark Kent's fascinating story. So keep listening.
Say, did you know that you can play games with your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep? Well, I know one game a lot of the fellows and girls have a lot of fun with. Maybe you'd like to try it. It's a guessing game, identifying the different funny paper characters, and you get a score every time that you know the right answer. Someone would ask, who wears a policeman's hat? And the answer would be Chief Brandon. Or, who wears a feather for a hat? And that would be the little moose. Or maybe, who never wears a hat? And that would be Superman, of course. Yes, sir, there's no end to the fun you can have with these pet comic buttons. Just collecting all 18 of them in this new series is fun in itself. And you know the best part is, they're so easy to get. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy them anywhere. But there's a comic button, an exclusive prize for you, inside every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. And Pep's a prize when it comes to good eating, too. So crisp and fresh and tasty, why, it makes you want to pitch right in and eat a hearty breakfast. Mom will tell you that Pep's good for you, too, with all that energy, vitamin B1, and sunshine vitamin D. So remind her right now to get you some P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now, back to Clark Kent's narrative of Superman's most unusual adventure.
As Zaram, evil regent of Utopia, pronounced the death sentence for Anthar and Jimmy Olsen, there was a moment of silence in the huge throne room. Then Anthar raised his head high and spoke up.
One moment, sire. As a senator, I demand my rightful privilege of a trial by my Senate colleagues. For so is it prescribed in the great charter of Utopia.
Oh? So, you wish a trial, do you?
Yes, I demand it as my right.
Very well. You shall have a trial. And the Earthling, too, tomorrow. I would not advise you to hope for too much from this trial, Anthar. Guards, take away these two and place them in cells.
Yes, sire. Come, prisoners. Guard, fall in.
Come, friend James.
Boy, sure was surprised when Zaram let you bluff him into giving us a trial.
It is a hollow victory, agreed only because he considers it a meaningless gesture.
Why do you say that?
Because all good and brave senators who dare to defy Zaram have been imprisoned or liquidated. The remainder either fear or willingly follow Zaram.
Oh.
Friend James, I am afraid, I am very much afraid, that tomorrow will see the end of us.
Oh, gee whiz.
His face grown pale again, Jimmy walked with a sad-faced Anthar among the menacing men of Zaram. And despite his fear of what lay in store for him, he told me later the one thing that hurt him most was the thought that Poco, the little fat rhymester, for whom he developed an affection, had turned against his friend.
Was Jimmy Olsen right in assuming that Poco had turned against him and Anthar? What happens now? Don't miss tomorrow's episode in Clark Kent's thrilling story of Superman's most unusual adventure, when he reveals how he found out about Jimmy's predicament. Yes, be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Snap, crackle, pop. That's a swell song to hear at the breakfast table, isn't it, gang? It means that your bowl of Kellogg's Rice Krispies is crisp as crisp can be. Means doggone good eating. Why, these golden bubbles of oven-popped rice are so fresh and crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk. That's why those famous little elves named Snap, Crackle, and Pop are around so much these days in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package to remind you to ask Mom for the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent continues the strange story of Superman's adventure on the lost planet Utopia and tells how Jimmy Olsen found a ray of hope in the darkness of his predicament.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, it's only once in a blue moon that someone comes along with such exciting prizes as those comic buttons Kellogg's Pep's been putting out. And now that you've got a series of 18 new buttons to collect, boy, that multiplies your fun over and over. Because it's such a swell surprise finding a button every time you open a package of Pep, and there's such swell prizes. These new Pep comic buttons, all 18 of them, are colored up bright as anything. They really show up when you pin them on your jacket or your dress or cap. And they're true-to-life pictures, too. Tess Trueheart and Spud and Corky and Superman look just as real as they do in the funny papers. And think of the fun you get in swapping duplicates with your pals and adding to your collection that way. Yes, sir, you'll get a kick out of collecting this brand new series of Pep comic buttons. And you don't have to spend any of your allowance to do it either. Don't even send in a box stop. You just ask Mom to keep stocked up with plenty of Kellogg's Pep. That's right. You can't buy these new comic buttons. You get one as a prize in each package of that Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep. The whole wheat flakes that taste so good and sunny that you come a-running to breakfast. Be sure to remind Mom to get you some P-E-P. The Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. Assigned by editor Perry White to write a feature story on Superman's most unusual and exciting adventure, Clark Kent chose to recount his experiences on the lost planet Utopia. Listen now as Kent continues.
Taken to the planet Utopia in a space shell by Anthar and Poco, two Utopians determined to prove to him that their people were planning an invasion of the Earth. Jimmy Olsen was captured by brutal guards of Zaram, the evil regent. Anthar was captured with him, and they were both clapped in prison to await a trial. Jimmy was accused of spying for Earth, Anthar of treason. Both were given reason to believe that they would be condemned to death. Meanwhile, back in Metropolis, I had just learned from an eyewitness that Jimmy had been carried away in a weird projectile. And that was all I knew when editor Perry White burst into my office, where I sat poring over a volume of the encyclopedia.
Kent, I've just come from police headquarters.
Well?
And they haven't been able to find that trace of Jimmy.
I
I can't understand it. When he left here this evening with that crackpot, Jim told Beanie he'd be back in a few minutes. But he's been gone, let's see, over 5 hours.
Uh-huh.
Hey, he didn't go home. He didn't come back here. Where in tarnation could he have gone?
I don't know.
Kent!
Huh? You call me, Chief?
Did I call you? Say, what's the matter with you?
Who, me?
Yes, you. Here, Jim disappeared with a madman, and you sit there reading a book.
No, I'm not just reading. I'm looking for a clue, Chief.
A clue to Jimmy in a book?
Sure. You see, this is an encyclopedia.
And you expect to find out where Jim went from the encyclopedia? Kent, you are out of your mind.
Not at all, Chief. I'm perfectly sane and rational.
Oh, yeah? Then what are you looking for in that encyclopedia?
Look, you must know I'm trying to find out where the planet Utopia is. That is, if there is such a thing.
Planet what?
Utopia. It's where the man in shorts said he came from and where Jim said he was going.
And you believe that?
Well, of course, you haven't forgotten what Tom said, have you?
Tom? Tom who?
Tom,
Oh, you mean Carlson?
Yes.
Well, you expect me to believe that fairy tale he told us about Jim and that crackpot sitting in a great big white ball that jumped off our roof and flew way up into the sky?
Oh, now, look.
Oh,
Chief,
go on. Carlson bumped his head against the radio tower on the roof and dreamed it. The way you're acting, you must have bumped your head, too.
No, Chief. Carlson swears he saw Jim and two other men in the whatever it was.
Whatever it was is right. I tell you, Carlson saw them in his dreams.
Well, I'm not so sure.
Well, I am. You ought to be ashamed of yourself believing hooey like that.
I didn't say I believed it. I
Then
just said
what were you looking in that encyclopedia for?
to see if there is a planet called Utopia.
And if there is, I suppose you intended to call up one of the airlines and reserve a seat on the next spaceship.
Well, no, not exactly.
Oh,
I
why
mean,
am I wasting my time talking to you?
Well, it is...
Olsen's in the hands of lunatics or a bunch of slick crooks, and you're talking about planets.
Well, it's
planets nobody ever heard of besides.
Nobody ever heard of Krypton either.
Of what?
Krypton. In case you've forgotten, that's where Superman came from.
Oh, no. No, look. Sit down like a nice fellow, will you?
What?
I want you to meet a friend of mine. His name is Dr. Jennings. You like him.
I'm sorry, Chief. I'm going to see Professor Wilson.
Wait, where are you going?
To see Professor Wilson, an astronomer who knows all about planets. I'll see you later. Never heard of the planet Utopia, Professor Wilson?
There is no such major planet, Mr. Kent.
No, I know that, Professor, but aren't there quite a few minor planets?
Yes, there are a host of small bodies which are known as minor planets or asteroids, such as Ceres, Ares, and Hidalgo, for example. But I believe you said this planet you were wondering about might be a possible habitation for human life.
Yes.
Then that rules out the minor planets, since we believe they have no atmosphere.
Oh, I see. Well, what planets are known to have an atmosphere, Professor?
Oh, quite a few.
Oh?
But most of them are ruled out as possible human habitations because of their extreme temperatures and low density.
See. Which ones aren't ruled out?
The planets of the so-called inner group, Mercury, Venus, Mars. But because of scientific reasons, with which I won't bore you, we don't believe that even Mercury or Venus is habitable.
See, but you think Mars might be?
Yes, we believe it might support some form of life, but a form quite unlike man as we know it.
Well, then our friend in shorts and sandals couldn't have come from Mars.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing, Professor. You're certain there is no planet you scientists know of which might just possibly be inhabited by men like ourselves?
No, Mr. Kent. It's a fascinating idea to play with, and I'm not saying there might not be such a planet.
You're not?
No. I just say that we scientists have never been able to discover such a planet, and frankly, we do not think one exists.
Well, thanks very much, Professor. If my newspaper can ever do anything for you, I hope you'll give us the chance.
Well, thank you. Don't look so disappointed, Mr. Kent.
Well,
if you're interested in the subject, well, who knows? Maybe you will discover a planet on which men like us live.
I just want to discover it if Jimmy's there. Looks now as if Tom Carlson was dreaming, or else that Jim was taken away in some newfangled plane, which means that somebody ought to find him.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow you, Mr. Kent.
I'm sorry, Professor. I was just talking to myself. Well, thanks again, Professor, and I'll be seeing you. Confused, perplexed, and more worried than before, I left Professor Wilson's laboratory. And still without a clue to Jimmy's whereabouts, I returned to the Daily Planet.
In just a moment, we'll return to Clark Kent's story of Superman's adventure on a lost planet. So keep listening.
Say, gang, do you know why it's so important for a young fella to lead the right sort of life and have the right sort of fun and pals? It's because one of these days, you fellas are going to be growing up, and you will have the say about making this country a good one to live in. And that's why the Boys Clubs of America are so important. Every one of these clubs, all over the country, helps boys get started on the right track toward being a good citizen. They make it possible for boys to find recreation and companionship and a chance to make and do things for themselves. And in the summer, there are camps where boys build healthy bodies and find out how to live the rules of honesty and fair play and tolerance. So here's a special salute to the Boys Clubs of America during National Boys Club Week for the swell job they're doing.
And now back to Clark Kent, who continues to tell his story.
As I left Professor Wilson's laboratory, still worried and no further ahead in my search for Jimmy Olsen, my young friend, as I learned later, was nervously pacing the floor of a solitary cell on the planet Utopia. Suddenly, he stopped short and listened to a furtive scratching at the tiny barred window high in the wall.
Oh, what's that?
Not so hard, lest you draw the guard.
Poco, what are you doing here, you turncoat?
Oh, James, do not be afraid. I come to bring you help and aid.
Oh, yeah? Like you helped us with Zoran tonight by telling him you didn't go to Metropolis with Anthar, and by calling Anthar a traitor and me a spy.
Can't you see I spoke flim-flam, deliberately so as to fool Zoran?
To save your own neck, you mean?
Oh, please don't have an argument waste breath. You were really very close to death.
Go on, you can't kid me, Poco. Zoran probably sent you here to pump me or something.
Oh, no, that is not true. I come only to help you.
Oh, tell that to the Marines. Where's Anthar?
Oh, he's in another cell, where for the moment he's not well.
Oh, what do you mean, for the moment?
Oh, come the trial tomorrow and then... Oh, sorrow, sorrow.
Oh, boy, this Utopia sure is a nice place. Just like Germany during Hitler's time.
Oh, please, James. The moments are few if I'm to be of help to Anthar and you.
You mean you really do want to help us?
Why else do you think I risk my head when I could be lying safely abed?
Well, okay. What's your plan?
First, you must tell me if you can. Where can I locate Superman?
Superman?
Yes, my friend, for I see how only he can save you now.
But, gosh, I don't know where he is.
Oh, think high, think low. James, you must know.
But I don't, I tell you. Maybe, oh, just maybe, Mr. Kent or Mr. White could get in touch with him by radio.
Oh, Mr. Kent or Mr. White? Will they try with all their might?
I sure will. They knew what's happening to me. But how can we let them know they're back on Earth in Metropolis?
In Metropolis, you say? Where we were earlier today?
Yeah, the Daily Planet newspaper. But how can we tell them about me, Poco?
Oh, at the moment I cannot say. But there must surely be some way.
Yeah, but how?
I have a plan, but it means risking my head. For if I'm caught, I'll surely be dead.
Oh, gee whiz, maybe you oughtn't to try then.
Oh, I cannot stand by and watch you die. Oh, look, friend James, I lowered a string. Do you perchance have a ring?
A ring? Oh, sure, I've got my high school graduation ring.
Oh, does it bear a sonnet or your name upon
It's got my initials and the year I graduated.
Oh, that's good, that's fine. Attach it to the twine.
What for?
Oh, please, do not delay. Just do as I say.
Okay, take it easy. Where's it? Oh, here, I've got it. Oh, you might as well take my ring. From what you and Anthar say about the trial tomorrow, 'cause I won't be using this ring much longer.
Is the ring on the string?
Yeah. I wish you'd tell me what you want it for, though.
Oh, that you will learn. If luck for me this turn.
Well, here's hoping. We could sure use a little luck right now.
And now, my friend, I say goodbye to save you and Anthor. I will try. And if I don't return, you'll know I did die.
Good luck, Poco.
Swiftly drawing the cord on which Jimmy's ring is attached up through the tiny barred window, Poco melted silently into the darkness, bound on a dangerous mission. Left alone in the blackness of his cell, Jimmy, as he later confessed, prayed harder than ever before in his life that the little rhyming jester would succeed in contacting me.
Tomorrow, Clark Kent reveals the details of Poco's daring plan and tells how the little round rhymester manages to contact Superman. So don't miss it. Yes, don't miss a single thrilling moment in Clark Kent's fascinating story of Superman's most unusual adventure, the mystery of the lost planet. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, let me tell you about a breakfast cereal that's fun to listen to and fun to eat. It's Kellogg's Rice Krispies, the Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal. Sure, you've seen those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop around in cartoons on the Rice Krispies package. And you know how they can dish out the crispiness of those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice. So freshly crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk. So remind Mom to get you the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent tells how Jimmy Olsen was condemned to die on the planet Utopia and reveals how he learned the details of the young reporter's predicament.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal, Dan McCullough. You know, for a hobby that's just as much fun as taking snapshots of your friends, I nominate collecting those nifty comic buttons in the new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Because every one of those buttons has a picture of one of your comic strip friends. Characters that you've known and liked for a long, long time. 18 of them in all, like Brenda Starr and Cindy and Spud and the Little Moose, Beezy and Goofy and Superman, of course. And they're done up in full bright colors, too, so that they show up like anything when you pin them on your jacket or your dress or cap. Boy, is it fun collecting these Pep comic buttons. And there's that exciting moment every time that Mom opens a new package of Pep to see which button's inside. And if it happens to be a duplicate, well, that's even more fun because then you can trade with your pals. So hop to it, gang. Get busy on your collection. Ask Mom to get you a package or two of Kellogg's Pep. Now, you don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these comic buttons. You just look for one inside your package of Pep. That's Kellogg's Pep, you know, the Sunshine Cereal, loaded with sunny, golden toasted flavor. These crisp, fresh whole wheat flakes sure do hit the spot for breakfast and in between snacks. So ask Mom to get you some P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. Assigned by editor Perry White to write a feature story on Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent gave it much thought.
Then he selected an experience that began one day when Jimmy Olsen was taken to the planet Utopia by Anthar and Poco, two utopians who wanted to convince the young reporter that their people planned to invade and conquer Earth. Now, Kent continues with his story.
Immediately upon arrival on Utopia, Jimmy and Anthar were thrown into jail by order of the vicious regent to await trial and a predetermined death sentence. But Poco, the fat little rhymester, managed to talk with Jimmy and learned from him that Editor White might be able to contact me, that is, Superman. So Poco, taking his life in his hands, set out on an attempt to reach Perry White. Meanwhile, Jimmy and Anthar were brought from their cells to an anteroom of Utopia's huge Senate chamber, where they waited for the senators to assemble for their hearing.
We have a chance for a fair trial?
I fear not, friend James.
Why?
Because of the 100 senators who will sit in judgment upon us, all but a scant few are Zeram's men, personally chosen by him to do his bidding.
Well, how come? Don't you have elections up here in Utopia?
We always did before Zeram seized control of the government. Now Zeram, and he alone, says who shall and who shall not hold office.
Oh, I know his kind. There are still a few of them left on Earth, too. But when our United Nations really get swinging, there won't be any more like that at all.
That is as it should be.
Amen. That doesn't solve our problem right now.
Indeed it does not. I feel now that nothing can save us from Zeram's wrath.
Unless Poco manages to go through with what he told me last night.
What? You saw Poco last night?
Uh-huh. Somehow or other he managed to get to the window of my cell.
Tell me, what did he say?
Well, he said he was convinced that only Superman could get us out of this mess. And he asked me how to locate him.
Yes.
I couldn't tell him any more than I told you. That is that I don't know. Except that maybe if he could manage to contact Mr. Kent or Mr. White, maybe they could help. So he said
That he would attempt another trip to Earth?
That's right.
That is just what I feared he might do.
What do you mean you fear? That's our only chance.
Yes, but poor Poco knows little of interplanetary navigation. Without help, he may be lost in space.
Oh, no.
Poor Poco. It was his lot in life to play the fool, and as a fool he will die.
So it was in a spirit of dejection and utter hopelessness that, a few minutes later, Jimmy and Anthar were ushered by armed guards into the Senate chamber, where on a high throne planted on a dais overlooking 100 white-robed senators sat Zeram, beak-nosed, fierce-eyed regent of Utopia.
Silence! Zeram, the great and glorious regent of all Utopia, speaks.
Boy, what a build-up for that ugly puss.
James, be quiet.
Gentlemen of the Senate, fellow Utopians, we meet today on an unhappy occasion to learn that Anthar, one whom we all loved and trusted, a man who once earned the respect of his fellows, has now become a turncoat, a foul traitor.
Hey, what kind of a trial is this? Is there an asking or telling them?
I warned you not to expect a fair trial.
What cared Anthar, the man our people trusted, that our planet is doomed to be shattered in space within a few weeks? What cared he that our people are thus doomed to death? No! Anthar cared only for himself. For by acting as a traitor to Utopia, he was promised great riches and power on Earth. If we are destroyed...
Holy smokes. He's sure getting this bunch worked up with the old rabble-rouser technique.
And now, gentlemen, this same Anthar, a base traitor, dares ask that we grant a fair trial to him and his fellow conspirator, the spy, James Olsen. However, keeping in mind that Utopia is, after all, a democracy,
Is he kidding?
it is our duty to listen to Anthar, even though we know beforehand what our vote will be.
You hear that? They just changed told them they're going to vote us guilty.
Courage, friend James. I will do my utmost to change their minds.
Fellow Utopians and fellow members of the Senate. You may call me traitor, but I will be heard. It is true I flew through space yesterday to Earth. But I went there for but one reason, to speak with only one person whom I was sure could help us. And unfortunately, I failed to find him. However, gentlemen,
Hear me when I say that we not only commit a great moral wrong by planning to invade the earth, but it will mean our destruction.
I have heard enough. Gentlemen of the Senate, shall we waste time in debate here? Shall we wait and risk defeat? Or shall we strike now while the people of Earth are off guard, and so secure a new homeland for our people?
Wait! Senators, wait! I tell you, Zeram leads you to destruction.
Gentlemen, you have heard Anthar, who speaks for himself in the American Spy. You've heard him in fair trial. Are you ready to vote now on the fate of Anthar the traitor and James Olsen the earthling spy? Very well. What is your verdict?
Guilty!
It's a landslide against us.
Yes, friend James. I have played my last card and lost.
You hear that, Anthar? The Senate has voted unanimously that you and the American spy are guilty. Hear my sentence then. God, strike the gong. Anthar and James Olsen, by vote of the Senate, and by my power as regent, I sentence you both to be placed in a sealed space shell at sundown this evening, and to be propelled thus into the vastness of space, there to perish.
As Jimmy later told me, the pronouncement of his and Anthar's doom by the cruel regent Zaram made him feel certain at that time that all was lost, that now not even Superman could save him. But he reckoned without the courageous and loyal Poco.
In a moment, we'll return for more of Clark Kent's story. So keep listening.
Say, talk about double talk, gang. Did you ever listen in while some of the fellows and girls are swapping duplicate comic buttons from that new series that now come in packages of Kellogg's Pep? I guess those conversations it'd sound mighty funny to anybody who didn't know about those swell Pep comic buttons. Like one fellow says, "Hey, trade your Goofy for Pat Patton." And another comes in and says, "I'll take that, and I have 2 Supermen. Who wants to swap?" And then another will say, "What'll you offer for Judy or Corky?" Well, that sort of double talk sure means a lot to you fellows and girls who are collecting those exciting Pep comic buttons, because you're all mighty anxious to collect all 18 buttons in the series. And they're so easy to get, too. You don't have to send in a single penny, not even a box top. Fact is, you can't buy them anywhere. But every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep, there's your comic button inside, your exclusive prize. And Pep's on the exclusive side when it comes to good eating, too, believe me. You can't find another dish with that sunny gold and toasted flavor so delicious you want to keep right on eating. Talk about teasing your morning appetite. Why, Pep makes you want to eat hearty. So remember, gang, ask Mom to get you lots of P-E-P. The Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now, back to Clark Kent's thrilling story.
As Jimmy Olsen and Anthar heard their doom pronounced by Zaram, I was sleeplessly pacing the floor in my apartment when I was suddenly startled to attention by the ringing of my phone. Hello, Clark Kent speaking.
Oh, Kent, this is Burroughs at the office.
Oh, yes,
I hope I didn't wake you up.
No, I haven't been asleep. Matter of fact, I've been out all night hunting for Jim Olsen.
Yeah, I didn't get much sleep myself worrying about him.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Kent, we just had a flash on the teletype.
About Jim?
Well, no.
Oh, well, turn the story over to someone else, will you, Burroughs? I'm giving all my time to looking for Jim.
Oh, sure, I know, but this is very strange, Kent, and it seems to concern you.
Me? How?
Well, it sounds crazy to me, but it's been authenticated.
Oh?
Now, listen to this. Some kind of a huge white ball fell out of the sky about 20 minutes ago and landed in the middle of Main and Franklin Streets.
What?
Yeah, I said it sounded crazy, but Peters happened to be nearby and he authenticated it. He says the ball seems to be some kind of a weird plane or rocket ship or something.
Well, I'll be... Listen, Burroughs, was there anyone in it?
Yeah, that's the other crazy part of it. There was a little fat man in it.
There was?
Yes, Peter says he was dressed in shorts and sandals and had tiny silver bells on his wrists and ankles. And get this, Kent, before he passed out of the picture, he asked for you.
For me?
Yes, Peter swears.
Never mind, listen. Where is he now, the little fat man?
At St. John's Hospital.
Hospital?
Well, sure, I told you he passed out of the picture when the ball crashed.
Great Scott, is he... How badly is he hurt, do you know?
No, I don't, but my guess is there wouldn't be much left of anybody after crashing in a contraption like that.
Well, cross your fingers and hope he isn't done for, Burroughs. Because if he is, I'm afraid we'll never see Jimmy again. Hoping against hope that the little man might yet be alive to tell me something about Jimmy, I stripped off my street clothes and, as Superman, rocketed out of my window toward St. John's Hospital.
Tomorrow, gang, Clark Kent reveals the condition in which he found Poco and what the little rhymester was able to tell him. And from there on begins the most exciting part of Superman's most unusual adventure, the mystery of the lost planet. So don't miss a minute of it. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, here's an easy question. What's the Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal? Why, Kellogg's Rice Krispies, of course. The only cereal so crisp it goes snap, crackle, and pop in milk. Whenever you see those famous little elves, snap, crackle, and pop in the cartoons or on the Rice Krispies package, you think of how crisp those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice can be. And when you hear their song of crispiness in your cereal bowl, you know that you're in for some good eating. Yes, sir, it's the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, in recounting the story of Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent reveals how he was finally contacted by the faithful Poco and started off on the trail of the missing Jimmy Olsen.
This is Superman, gang. And here's someone I want you to meet. Rear Admiral Reginald R. Belknap, USN, retired.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. And thank you, Superman. I am the chairman of the Layman's National Committee, a non-sectarian religious organization that tries to make sure that children of all races and creeds get the wonderful advantages offered by our churches. This is National Sunday School Week, a very good time to recognize all the good the Superman show does to promote the principles of right living. Superman shows us all how to live the golden rule, how to help and protect those who need it. And so, I now present the Layman National Committee's citation to the Superman program as the best children's program of the year.
Thank you, Admiral Belknap. The whole Superman staff is very grateful for this honor.
Yes, and I want to add the thanks of the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Pep. Naturally, Kellogg is proud of the Superman show and its contribution to our good American way of life. And Pep is part of that good, wholesome way of life, a good cereal that's good, wholesome eating for growing boys and girls. That's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal.
Now, the adventures of Superman. In recounting the story of Superman's most unusual experience, Clark Kent told how Jimmy Olsen was taken to the planet Utopia by Anthar and Poco, two men of the little-known planet, and how, upon their arrival, Jimmy and Anthar were captured and sentenced to death by Saram, the cruel regent. Now, Kent continues with his story.
Meanwhile, here in Metropolis, I received a news report of a huge white plastic ball that had fallen out of the skies into the heart of the city. What's more, its sole occupant, a little fat man wearing strange clothes and silver bells on his wrists and ankles, was reported to have called for me several times before he lost consciousness. As soon as I heard that, I rushed over to the hospital where I was surprised to find my editor, Perry White, waiting for me.
The office told me you were on your way over.
Oh?
And while I was waiting, I found out where he is.
You mean the funny little guy they took out of that flying ball?
That's right. He's on the 3rd floor.
Good. Hope he's still alive and that he can tell us where to find Jim.
Are you kidding?
No. Come on upstairs to his room. Oh, doctor, my name is Clark Kent.
Kent?
Yes. I understand the patient in 306 was asking for me.
Yes, he was indeed. Ever since he came to. I'm glad you've come.
Well, may we see him now?
Yes, but before I take you to him, I want to warn you that he's a little strange. Speaks only in a sort of odd rhymed double talk, I suppose you might call it.
Poor fellow. Suffered a concussion, eh?
Oh, surprisingly enough, we don't find him suffering from anything more serious than a sprained ankle. Now, if you'll follow me, please, I'll take you to him. Here you are, gentlemen.
Thank you, doctor.
Not at all.
Oh, hurry. It's worry.
Listen to that. Come on in, Chief.
If you, sirs, are Mr. Kent, Mr. White, you are indeed a welcome sight.
Well,
Yes, I'm Clark Kent, and this is Mr. White. Suppose you tell us who you are.
Oh, I am Poco by name, a jester by fame.
A jester. Of all the...
Now, wait, just a minute, Chief. Poco, could you tell us where you come from?
Oh, yes. I come from Utopia, and the story I bring is nothing short of frightening.
What story?
Yes, get to the facts, if they are facts.
Oh, very well. Since yours are the names given me by my good friend James.
James? You mean Jim Olsen?
No, 'tis true, I do.
Well, what happened to Jim? Where is he?
With poor James, alas, all is not well. He is lying now in a guarded cell.
What? Go on, Poco.
Yes. He waits his fate behind iron bars on the planet Utopia, close to Mars.
Oh, now cut out that rhyming double talking, for heaven's sakes. Tell us,
Do you think on lies I'd waste my breath while James is in prison, sentenced to death?
Sentenced to death?
What for?
He was, on Utopia, convicted as a spy. And for that, Zaram has condemned him to die.
Great Caesar.
Zaram? Who is Zaram?
Zaram is regent who rules our land. All life and death are in his hand.
How can we help Jimmy, Poco?
By telling me quickly, if you can, where can I contact Superman?
What do you want with Superman?
To save poor James and Anthar, too, from death at the hand of Zaram's crew.
Now, look, Poco.
We can't hold everything. What? Now, come here. I want to talk to you.
Excuse me, Poco.
Oh, worry. Hurry.
What's eating you, Chief?
I think this character's giving us a phony story.
Oh, now,
What's
look.
more, I think he's part of a gang that kidnapped Jimmy, and now they're trying...
Wait a minute. How can you say that when this man's description, the projectile he arrived in, and his story about coming from Utopia all jibe with what an eyewitness to Jimmy's disappearance told us?
You believe all that?
I have no reason to disbelieve it yet.
And I say you're as wacky as he seems to be.
Gentlemen, I beg you do not delay. Each moment we waste speeds James' life away.
Let's see, Chief. Tell me, Poco, for the sake of some who may be doubtful, have you any way of proving that...
Oh, yes, Mr. Kent, Mr. White. I can prove that I am right.
Yeah, how?
Oh, look. From around my neck, I take a string. And from this string, I take a ring.
Let's see that.
Chief, that's Jimmy's high school ring.
Yes, it is. But how do we know he didn't steal it from Jim?
Oh, I swear I did not steal the ring. Oh, why do you question everything? When, unless you help me, Mr. White, well, James, your friend, will die tonight.
I've heard enough. Kent, I think this is a job for Inspector Henderson.
No, wait, Chief.
Nothing doing. I'm going to call
Be
him right
reasonable,
now.
Chief. How are the police going to help Jim when he's on another planet?
I don't believe he is on another planet.
Oh, that he is, I swear upon my pelf. I took him there with Anthar myself.
Oh, you did, eh? Why?
We took James with us so he'd understand the danger that threatens your native land.
What are you saying, Poco?
Oh, it's true. Believe me, it's true.
Oh, cut it out.
What's true?
That Zaram is set to come with armies, the earth to invade.
Oh, no.
And the way is all clear. His plans are all made.
You took Jimmy along with you to prove that to him?
Yes. And Zaram caught James and Anthar, too. And tonight, alas, their end is due.
Oh, for Pete's sake, stop saying that.
Oh, then call for Superman, I implore. Lord, shortly James will be no more.
Great Jupiter.
Tell me, Poco, is the time on Utopia the same as it is here?
No, it's 4 hours late. And when it's 4 o'clock here, there it is 8.
And we have only 2 hours before sunset on Utopia, the time set for the execution. Look, Poco, do you know how to get back to Utopia?
Now, wait a minute.
The path is clear through the stratosphere with the aid of this solar compass here.
Kent, for heaven's sake.
That little box, Poco, is that what you call a solar compass?
Yes. And that is what, to use, I plan to chart the course for Superman.
Okay, I'll take you up on that, Poco.
You'll take him out.
I mean Superman will.
Superman? Where are you going to find him?
You're going to find him, Chief.
I am?
Yes. Remember the last time we had to find Superman? You broadcast for him over the Daily Planet radio when he showed up?
Yes, but...
Well, you're going to do it again.
Oh, I am I? Now, you listen
Don't
here.
argue, Chief. We've got less than 2 hours to save Jim's life, so get over to the radio studio and start broadcasting for him right away.
No, this is crazy. It's ridiculous.
Don't waste time arguing. Will you get going? Hurry. Whew. Thought I'd never get rid of him. Now, back here behind this screen where Poco can't see me, and out of these clothes, quickly.
Mr. White, Mr. Kent. Oh, where can they be? Why have they both deserted me?
Well, I do, Poco.
Oh, you, sir, in cape of red and costume blue. Will you tell me, please, who are you?
I'm Superman. I understand you want to see me.
Oh, no. No, this good fortune. It cannot be. I don't dare believe you are really he.
Yes, I'm Superman, all right. Now, Kent said your solar compass would show us the way to Utopia, right?
If the stars prevail, it cannot fail.
All right, up in my arms with you. There. Are you comfortable?
Oh, yes. Well, here's the compass. Hold it tight. If we lose it...
It's good night.
Right.
Well, here goes then. Up for this window. Now, out. Up and away! Leaping out the window with Poco under my arm, I rocketed straight up into the sky, bound for Utopia and what was perhaps the strangest adventure of my career since arriving on Earth from Krypton. But if I had anticipated an easy trip to Utopia, I was doomed to disappointment, for I soon learned differently.
In just a moment, we'll return for the thrilling climax of today's episode in Clark Kent's exciting story. So keep listening.
Say, you know how it is, gang. You get a real kick out of meeting up with one of your friends unexpectedly. Well, there's that same sort of thrill for you when Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep. Because, first off, you're glad that there's more of that super delicious cereal to eat. And when you get one of those exciting comic buttons in the Pep package, you're meeting up with an old funny sheet friend. Yes, sir. Every single one of those comic strip characters is someone that you've known in the funny papers. 18 of them in all, like Pat Patton and Tess Trueheart and Chief Brandon and Vitamin Flintheart, Judy Clarkey, and Superman himself. And each one has a humdinger for looks. So how about asking Mom right now to get you some more Kellogg's Pep? That's how easy it is to get these comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a buck stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. You just look inside the Pep package for your prize and get a glimpse of those golden toasted whole wheat flakes, too. And your appetite will sit right up and take notice right away. Pep looks so crisp and inviting, and it tastes so doggone delicious that, well, you practically won't be able to resist it. So have yourself a bowl of Pep for breakfast tomorrow. Just make sure that Mom gets P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now we return to Clark Kent's story of Superman's most unusual adventure.
With Poco clinging tightly to me, I shot up into the sky like a rocket, and soon we had gone beyond the stratosphere into the vast empty reaches of space, where the crackling natural electricity and lack of what we know as atmosphere made the going extremely difficult. Hold up here, Poco. Better stay under my cape.
Oh, but it feels good to fly. Up higher than the sky.
What's that? Solar compass?
Oh, dear. Oh, Superman, oh, dear. That means we are lost up here.
Lost? What do you mean?
Oh, this means we left Earth too soon. We should have waited till the clock struck noon.
Why? What difference does that make?
Oh, can't you see? It's because the compass is set at a certain place. And when we left too soon, we became lost in space.
Uh-oh, that's bad. Pretty rugged up here, even for me. Getting worse all the time.
Oh, the fault is mine. I'm a stupid fool. I should have remembered the solar rule.
Too late for that now, Poco. Just hang on and hope for the best. Unmercifully buffeted by the elements and apparently lost in space, I continued to struggle and fight with all the power I could muster in an effort to get through to Jimmy Olsen. But as the moments sped by, my chances and Poco's seemed to get slimmer and slimmer.
How did Superman manage to fight his way through space in time to save Jimmy Olsen from execution on Utopia? Well, all we can tell you now is that the Man of Steel's great powers were tested like never before, and that both he and Jimmy were nearly destroyed on Utopia until this experience was over. So don't miss tomorrow's episode in Clark Kent's thrilling story of The Mystery of the Lost Planet, Superman's most unusual adventure. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Snap, crackle, pop. What's that, gang? Why, it's the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Sure, you've seen those famous little elves and cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. And you know how they dish out those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice. So crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk. That's their song of crispiness. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Rice Krispies are fun to listen to and fun to eat. So ask Mom to get you the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, as Clark Kent writes another chapter in his story of Superman's most unusual adventure, he tells how he struggled with the elements in space and nearly lost out in his titanic effort to save Jimmy Olsen's life.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, for all-round good fun, you can't beat the comic buttons in the new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep. And I mean all-round fun. Everybody enters in. Now, you don't have to be getting a big allowance because you don't send in a single penny for these Pep comic buttons, not even a box top. And you don't have to be in any certain grade at school. And both fellas and girls get a kick out of collecting all 18 buttons in this new series. Everybody knows the funny paper characters like Judy and Corky and Pat Patton and Superman, of course. And you can all trade duplicates with each other and add another Pep comic button to your collection that way. What's more, these comic buttons are so doggone smart-looking that, well, you're mighty proud to wear them on your jacket or your dress or cap. So get in on the fun, gang. Ask Mom to get you a package or two of Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these exciting prizes. You can't buy them anywhere, but there's a comic button for you inside every package of that Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Say, Pep's a prize package when it comes to good eating, too. Crisp and fresh and loaded with that catchy Sunshine flavor. So ask Mom for lots of P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. In recounting the story of Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent has already told us how Poco, the little fat man who speaks in rhyme, flew to Earth from the planet Utopia to enlist Superman's aid in an effort to save Jimmy Olsen from a death sentence to which he had been condemned. Now, Kent continues.
As Superman, I rocketed into the sky with Poco under my arm, and soon we were in space, far beyond the atmosphere. The going became extremely rough. Then, calling on all the power at my command, I struggled and fought onward, managed to make very little headway against the terrific natural electricity and other elements in space, which buffeted and tossed us around like corks on a raging sea.
Oh, dear. It's useless, Superman. Please save yourself if you can.
Now, don't talk like that, Poco.
Oh, but we are lost and in the sky. Save yourself and let me die.
Nonsense. We're not licked yet. What a space shell can do, I can do.
Oh, I wish to heaven what you say were true. But we're out of the channel we should be traveling through.
Channel? What do you mean?
Well, only once every 6 hours. There's a channel through space in which one can rocket from place to place.
Well, that's it. Well, we'll just have to... Great Scott! Get out of my Poco. Here comes a comet or something.
Oh, grief, oh, gloom. Oh, this spells our doom.
Out of my coat, I said. Struck by the rushing, flaming meteor, a white-hot ball of molten metal, I shuddered, fought to retain my equilibrium, then losing out began to fall, my body limp, but my arms clinging by some instinct to the terror-stricken Poco. Then a violent shudder passed through my body, and I painfully lifted my head from my chest. From what seemed at first like a great distance, I heard a voice. It was Poco.
Superman, did we survive? Tell me, are we alive?
Yes, Poco. We're alive, all right. Now we've got to find Utopia. Where is that solar compass of yours?
It is here, but I fear...
Thanks. Now, let's see. All right. The needle points this way, up and to the right. Away! Struggling, battling as I had never battled before, throwing my strangely weakened body again and again at the raging, pitiless elements, I fought for survival and for the lives of my friends. Meanwhile, I learned later, on the planet Utopia, Jimmy Olsen and Anthar, their wrists bound behind them, were standing in the walled courtyard behind the palace of Zaram, Utopia's regent. Armed guards stood alertly near, and Zaram himself, a gloating smile on his bony, hawk-beaked face, strolled back and forth between his prisoners and a huge stone table at which laborers were working.
Hey, what are they doing over at that table, Anthar?
They prepare the space shell for us, friend James.
The space shell?
Yes, the one in which we are doomed to be sealed and then projected into eternal space.
Gee whiz. It's sort of like watching our graves being dug, isn't it?
Yes, it amuses Zaram to make us observe the proceedings.
Dirty dog. With a nasty smile on his face. Oh, don't worry. He'll get his when he tries to invade the Earth.
Perhaps, but I fear he will be successful.
Are you kidding? The armies and navies and air forces of the United Nations on Earth will make a monkey out of him.
You forget something, friend James.
What's that?
All the nations on Earth are not yet fully united and prepared for defense against even the simple common foes they have to fight now.
But they're working on it.
That is not enough.
Oh, boy. If you're right, Anthar, I deserve what Zaram's going to do to me.
Why do you say that?
Because you told me all this in Metropolis, begging me to try to find Superman. But I was a wise guy. I just laughed at you.
You cannot be blamed for doubting me, so do not reproach yourself.
Oh, don't kid me. I know now I'm the world's prized dope.
Hush. Saddam approaches.
Be patient, my friends. In but a few moments, your new home will be completed.
You low-down rat.
I see the young man has not yet lost his courage, eh?
You bet I haven't. When you get down there, you'll find the same goes for other Earth people.
Their courage will avail of as little as yours does now. Earthmen shall fall before me like flies.
You'll never see that day,
Silence!
Sock me when my hands are tied, huh? That's the kind of a skunk you are.
Open your mouth again, insolent puppy. You'll be placed in the shell without your tongue.
You act the coward, Saddam.
Really, Anthar? Anthar, the great patriot. Anthar, the beloved president of Utopia's Senate. What say the people of you now, foolish one?
It matters not what they say now, for in time the truth will out.
Bravo, Anthar, bravo.
You are foolish, Adam, to believe you can make yourself safe by doing away with all men of honor and courage. For somehow enough of them always remain to destroy you at last. You will learn that even as Hitler and other tyrants learned it.
That's telling them.
Anthar, you lived as a fool, and now you die as one. I would have a verse on that. Where is my jester, Poco? Poco! Poco! Where is Poco?
Gee whiz.
Where is
Maybe Poco got to Metropolis and found Superman. Maybe he's on his way back here with Superman right now.
I wish it was so, but that is no longer possible.
Why?
I have computed the solar time, and the last period was at noon of your time, which is 4 p.m. of ours. If Poco had arrived safely in Metropolis, found Superman, and returned with him at the last period, they would have been here shortly after 4 p.m. But it is now 5:30, so you see...
Yeah. Look, When's the next time they can travel?
At 6 p.m. Metropolis time, by which time we shall long since have been shattered in space.
Oh, I see.
Fire. Shell is prepared.
Good. Guards! Fetch the prisoner.
Uh-oh. Here they come for us, Anthar.
Yes, this is the end. Once more, I say how I regret being responsible for this, friend James.
It wasn't your fault. You did the right thing, I guess.
Grasped roughly by Zeram's guards, Jimmy and Anthar were marched toward a spherical shell, near which workmen stood by, ready to seal it as soon as the prisoners had been let down through an open hatch. And at that time, Poco and I were just approaching the orbit of Utopia.
In just a moment, we'll return for the startling climax in today's episode of Clark Kent's story. So keep listening.
Say, do you like to reminisce? Think back and remember all the fun you've had? Well, I know a lot of fellas and girls who get a kick out of reminiscing these days. Sure, when they check over their collections of comic buttons in that new series from Packages of Kellogg's Pep. Because every single one of these funny paper characters looks so doggone lifelike, why, you keep chuckling over the things that they've done in the comic strips. Like the way Goofy and Beezy get all mixed up in the funniest situations. Or Vitamin Flintheart and the way he coddles himself. Yes, sir, every single one of those 18 new and different Pep comic buttons has a real story to tell. And they're so easy to get, too. You don't have to send in a single penny, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. They come only as prizes in Packages of Kellogg's Pep. That's the Sunshine cereal, famous for sunny gold and toasted flavor, and famous for vitamin D the good old sun makes for you. That's why Mom says Pep is particularly good for you these days, when the sunny hours aren't so long yet. Pep gives you additional vitamin B1, too, and energy vitamin, plus all that mighty swell eating in these gold and whole wheat flakes. So ask Mom for P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now back to Clark Kent's thrilling story of Superman's most unusual adventure.
As Jimmy Olsen and Anthar were being led to the space shell into which they were to be sealed and hurtled off into space, Poco and I emerged into the orbit of Utopia. Spent from my great struggle with the elements, I was grateful for the gravitational pull which had begun to pull me down to a planet that was barely visible through the mists and vapors. Well, I see land far below, Poco. And if this compass is right, it should be Utopia.
Oh, hooray and praise the day. I hope and pray it's as you say.
Great Scott. Look, Poco, didn't you tell me Anthar and Jimmy would be executed at sunset in the capital of Utopia?
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, I see a courtyard down there.
Oh, great space. What you see must be the Regency.
Sun's rays are beginning to leave that spot. Wait a minute. There's Jim. He's being forced into a space shell. Down to him. Faster. Down. At the sight of what was happening to Jimmy, I caught my second wind and zoomed down toward Utopia like a projectile shot from a rocket gun. A few minutes later, I landed in the middle of a startled group of Utopians. Letting go of Poco, I called out to Jimmy and started toward him. Jim! Jimmy!
Jeepers, it's Superman!
Great space.
Stand back, everyone. Stand back or... All right.
Superman!
Oh.
What's the matter?
I don't know, Jim. I can't move. Unaware that I was held by the tremendous force of gravity on Utopia, I thought perhaps I had been stricken with a form of paralysis, and great beads of perspiration broke out on my face as I strained my every muscle to the utmost in a vain effort to move. And one thought kept racing through my mind. Had I come through that terrible ordeal with the elements, only to fail Jimmy now? Never before had I felt so helpless and frustrated.
And this, gang, is only the beginning of a strange series of things that happened to the Man of Steel on Utopia, as Clark Kent will reveal in Monday's episode of his story of Superman's most unusual adventure, the mystery of the lost planet. So don't fail to be with us again Monday. Same time, same station. And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep. For exciting excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, do you know the only cereal that goes snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk? Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Sure, you've seen those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. And you've heard those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice sing out at breakfast time. That means that they're crisp. Crisp as crisp can be. So have yourself a bowl full tomorrow morning. Ask Mom for the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, present
The Adventures of Superman. Today, in recounting the story of Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent tells how the Man of Steel, for the first time in his life, was rendered completely helpless, unable to move.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal, Dan McCullough. You know, the most exciting part of a race comes toward the end. You know, when it's nip and tuck to see who'll win. And believe me, it's nip and tuck in lots of neighborhoods these days to see who's going to be the first to complete his collection of all 18 of those swell comic buttons Kellogg's Pep is putting out. Now, some young fellows and girls are going to be strutting around when they have the whole series pinned on their jacket or dress or cap, and they're going to feel mighty proud. And no wonder. These Pep comic buttons are so doggone smart looking. The colors are so clear and sharp that, well, nobody wants to miss out on a single one. You want Brenda Starr and Spud and Superman and all the rest. And you want the fun of trading duplicates with your pals, too. So get busy, gang. Better remind Mom to get you some more of that Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep. That's how easy it is to get these Pep comic buttons. You don't have to send in a single penny, not even a box top. And you can't buy them anywhere. But there's an exclusive prize, plus a catchy sunny dish for breakfast in every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. Yes, sir, these whole wheat flakes are sure a prize when it comes to good eating. So gold and toasted and delicious that, well, you practically can't resist it. So ask Mom for P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. As you remember, Clark Kent was assigned by his editor, Perry White, to write the story of Superman's most exciting adventure. After much deliberation, Kent chose the story of Superman's experiences on the lost planet Utopia, where Jimmy Olsen had been taken and condemned to die. Listen now as Kent continues with his story.
After a terrific battle with the elements in space, I managed to struggle through to Utopia with Poco, the little jester who had come to warn me of Jimmy's impending doom. We arrived in the palace courtyard, where at the command of Zaram, evil regent of Utopia, Jimmy and his friend Anthar were about to be placed in a space shell and sent to their deaths. Calling out to Jimmy, I started forward to free him from his bonds when, to my utter dismay, I found myself unable to move. I was held firmly to the ground by the heavy gravitational pull of Utopia, which made me completely helpless.
Superman, what's the matter?
I don't know. I can't move.
You? Who are you? Answer me. Who are you? How came you here among us?
I can't.
Answer me, I say. It is I, Zaram, Legion of Utopia, who command you to speak.
If I can just move, I'll answer you all right.
Speak, I say, or I'll lash you within an inch of your life.
Go ahead and lash. As soon as I get my strength back,
Very well, take this. Speak. Who are you?
I can't stand this. Stop it.
You come from?
You can whip till your arm drops off. Won't do you any good.
Speak. This cannot understand. There are no welts on your face. You do not cry out in pain.
But you'll cry out.
Soon as whatever's holding me lets go.
Do not realize you're doomed by the gravity of our planet, which holds you fast?
So, that's what it is.
Yes, and only I can save you, and I will if you tell me what I ask.
I'll tell you nothing.
I think you will, as you feel your life ebbing from you. Number 2 guard detail. Carry the stranger to the cell in my palace. Bid the guard there summon me when the stranger is ready to speak.
That'll be a long time, Zeram.
I think it'll be a short time. Take him away. Now, you earthling spy. You called to him in the red cape. Do you know him?
You bet I do.
Who is he?
Why, he's
Don't tell him anything, Jim.
Huh?
Don't tell him.
Okay, I won't.
Answer me, spy. Who is he?
I don't know.
You're lying?
No, I thought he was somebody I knew, but I guess I made a mistake.
I see you must be persuaded. Very well, I shall attend to that. Boss.
Yes, sire.
Take Anthar to the dark dungeon.
But, sire, the space shell is prepared, and Anthar and the Earthling were to be dispatched in it at sundown.
Be dispatched later. I must learn first the identity of him in the red cape. I must learn how he dropped from the skies with Poco and how my lash could neither welt nor pain him.
It is indeed strange, sire.
Since the Earthling knows him, he must have come from Earth. Since we invade the Earth on the day after tomorrow...
Day after tomorrow?
I must learn first if there be more of such men in red capes who drop from the sky and are impervious to pain. Take Anthar away.
Yes, sire. Come, Anthar.
Very well. Farewell, friend James.
So long, Anthar.
Come with me to my council chamber, Olson. There we shall see if you're as stubborn as your friend. Now, Earthling, you're wise. You'll tell me what I wish to know of him in the red cape.
How can I? I don't even know him.
So, you require persuasion, eh? Very well, I shall persuade you. You see this small object which I take from my belt?
It looks like a glass marble. What is it?
You shall see. Come with me to the window.
Okay. Now what?
You observe the large statue in the garden?
You mean the man on the gold horse?
Yes. The statue of our former king. The good King Yo, he was called. It's my great privilege to liquidate him. That statue, Earthling, is of granite and gold. It weighs 20 tons.
Yeah, it's pretty big, all right.
Yes. Now take this.
The marble? What are you giving it to me for?
Throw it at the statue of King Yo.
Huh?
I said throw it at the statue. The window is open. The statue is just below us. Cannot fail to hit it.
Well, what's the idea?
Do as I say and stop jabbering. Throw it at the statue.
I don't know what this is all about, but here goes. Holy mackerel. The statue. It's gone.
Yes. Heap of broken stone and gold are all that remain of it.
What did it?
Just seen a demonstration of but one of my secret weapons, Earthling. Only one of the weapons which I shall use to conquer the Earth.
Golly, I can't believe it.
Now, here I have another missile such as the one you just used to destroy the statue.
Hey, don't wave it around like that. Put it away.
Oh, no. You see, I'm considering throwing it at you.
At me? Oh, no, wait
Unless
a minute.
you tell me what I wish to know about the man in the red cape.
No, don't.
And speak quickly, all right?
Wait, okay. I'll tell you.
Very well. Speak. Who is he?
He's Superman.
Superman?
Yes.
How came he here to Utopia?
He can fly, and he's so powerful that he can smash through steel as though it were paper, and, well, he can't be hurt.
Lies? Smashes steel. Pervious to hurt.
Yeah. If it weren't for this heavy gravity on your planet, you wouldn't be sitting here talking about invading the Earth and holding Anthar and me prisoners.
I'm beginning to understand. This morning at the trial, Anthar said he'd gone to Earth to see one person, but had not seen him. Anthar, although I tell my people differently, would not lie. So the person he went to see must have been this Superman.
That's right. Anthar and Poco came to find Superman to warn him of your dirty scheme to invade us. Only I was too dumb to believe Anthar, so he brought me back here to see... Oh, why can't I learn to keep my big mouth shut?
You have been very helpful, friend James. Therefore I shall reward you handsomely.
You mean you're gonna let me go?
Oh, no. I mean, I'm going to permit you to choose your manner of departure from this planet.
I don't get it.
It's very simple. Do you prefer to be sealed in the space shell as we started to do earlier this evening and projected into eternal space?
Hey, wait a minute.
Or do you prefer to be eliminated quickly by this little, what you called marble?
So that's it, huh?
Yes. Now make up your mind. I'll allow you 100 lapse revolutions, 1 minute of your time, in which to select the manner in which you will die.
Mockingly giving Jimmy a choice of death one way or another, the evil, black-hearted regent, Zeram, sat at his desk and watched the time pass. And meanwhile, in a dark, moldy dungeon dug deeply into the bowels of Utopia, I lay on the floor, struggling to overcome the gravitational pull that held me helpless, as in a vice.
In a moment, we'll return to Clark Kent at his story of Superman's strangest adventure. So keep listening.
You know, gang, when there are both boys and girls in a family, there's pretty sure to be a lot of good-natured rivalry. And that's just what's happening with collections of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Brothers and sisters are racing like anything, trying to be the first to complete their collections. And there's a lot of excitement every time Mom opens a new package of Pep. And there's a great business of trading duplicates, too, because everybody's sure to want all 18 comic strip pictures. Pat Patton and Tess Trueheart and Chief Brandon and Vitamin Flintheart, Judy and Corky and Superman and all the rest. Believe me, you'll be mighty proud to wear your whole collection of Pep comic buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. So, if you don't want to be left behind, you better ask Mom to get you some more Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these comic buttons. You don't send it any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you get a comic button every time you open a package of Kellogg's Pep. You know, that's the crisp flakes of good whole wheat that are loaded with catchy, sunny flavor. Good for you, too, with extra vitamin B1 and energy vitamin and good old sunshine vitamin D. So tell Mom that you want lots of P-E-P. The Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now we return to Clark Kent's thrilling story of Superman's most unusual adventure.
As Jimmy Olsen was faced with choosing the manner in which he was to die, I had managed to struggle to my feet in the dark dungeon into which I'd been thrown. With my X-ray vision and hearing, I had been a witness to the scene between Jimmy and Zeram, and knew that I must act quickly to save my young friend. But I was helpless to move. Suddenly, I was struck with an idea. This is dangerous, but it's our only chance. Must work. There. Now to call the guard. Guard! Guard, come quickly!
Who called me?
I do, the stranger in this cell. Hurry!
Why did you call? What do you want?
Look at it.
Right on, Fred. Great space.
Surprised?
No, it can't be. It can't be.
Taking one look at me, the guard's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Dropping his lamp, he backed away from my cell, spun on his heel, and raced away up the ancient winding stone steps that lead from the dungeon to the regent's palace. It looked as if my trick were working.
What did the guard see that caused him to flee in terror? Will Superman's trick work to save Jimmy's life? Clark Kent tells more tomorrow in the next episode of his story of Superman's most unusual adventure, The Mystery of the Lost Planet. So be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, answer me this. What does Snap, Crackle, and Pop stand for? That's right, Kellogg's Rice Krispies, those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice that snap, crackle, and pop in milk. They're so crisp they fairly sing. You've probably heard them at breakfast time, and you've seen those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. Tomorrow morning, ask Mother for the cereal that's fun to listen to and fun to eat. The one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent continues to tell his fascinating story of Superman's most unusual adventure, in which he tells how he tricked the evil Regent Zaram, and then was in turn the victim of a trick.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal, Dan McCullough. Say, that race is on. The fellas and girls in our neighborhood are busy as can be these days, trying to see who'll be the first to get all 18 of those swell comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Why, everywhere I go, I see jackets and dresses and caps with Pep comic buttons pinned on them. And I see groups of kids in the schoolyard swapping duplicates, too. And I see a lot of thrilling excitement at our house when it's time to open a new package of Pep. You know, that's the prize package that brings you those swell comic buttons. And they're real humdingers. Colorful pictures of funny paper favorites like Tess Trueheart and Goofy and Superman. Boy, will you be proud when you have all 18 of these Pep comic buttons to wear for everybody to see. And you know, the best part is they're so easy to get, you don't have to send in a single penny, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to ask Mom to stock up on Kellogg's Pep and look for your prize in every package you open. That's Pep, the whole wheat flakes with that catchy sunshine flavor. Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, the crisp, fresh Kellogg's cereal that's so doggone good tasting, every spoonful calls for more. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Pep is the breakfast dish for you. So just ask Mom for P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. As you remember, Clark Kent has already told us how he came to the planet Utopia with Poco, the little rhyming jester, in order to rescue Jimmy. He told us, too, how the terrific gravitational pull of the strange planet robbed him of his great strength. Now he continues with his story of Superman's most unusual adventure. Helpless, unable to move, I was thrown into a dark, moldy dungeon under Zaram's palace, where, with the aid of my extraordinary hearing, I overheard the cruel regent give Jimmy 1 minute to decide how he was to die, by means of an amazing missile that would disintegrate him, or to be hurled into space. Suddenly, an idea struck me. I called to the guard. When he came to my cell, he took one look at me, dropped his lantern, and with his eyes popping, raced to the council room. Bursting in, he called out to Zaram.
Your Highness! Come quickly, sire! Quickly!
What? How dare you enter the regent's presence without permission?
But it is important, sire. Vastly important. The man in the red cape, our prisoner.
Well, what of him?
He is gone, sire.
Gone?
Yes, sire. A moment ago he called loudly to me. Then, when I came to his cell, he was gone. And another man was there.
Keep and listen.
You must be mad, guard.
No, sire, no. With my own eyes I saw it.
Oh, boy, Superman's done it again.
Silence, Earthling. It's impossible. This cannot be. I saw myself how the gravity of Utopia held Superman as in heavy chains. Was unable to move a step. How could he?
But still he got away. I told you he would. Now let's see you try to invade the Earth, wise guy.
Be quiet. Come with me, guard. We'll lock the Earthling here in the council room to wait for my return. Hurry!
There, sire. Look.
Good evening, gentlemen. Great space. It is another man.
You see, sire? Did I not speak right?
There's something wrong, gentlemen. You, stranger. Who are you? Me? Oh, just call me John Smith. How did you get here? Where is the one called Superman? Ha! That, my friend, is what we on Earth call a $64 question.
I do not understand, but your tone is mocking. Now hear me, stranger. I am Zeram, regent of Utopia. The flick of my finger can mean life or death.
Oh, yes. Yes, I've heard all about you, Zeram.
And you know my power, so you'd best answer me. Where is he of the red cape, the one called Superman?
Why don't you ask your guard?
Guard, did you search the palace?
How can he be in the palace, sire? You see for yourself, the cell door is still locked, and I did not unlock it.
I see, Stonehead. But I see, too, that our prisoners not in the cell. Now go raise the palace guard. Have a search made of every room, the grounds, the whole city. Then bring the earthling James Olsen to me. Now go, hurry.
I go, sire.
Ave Zeram. Heil Hitler. Well, you and the Austrian paper hanger seem to have a lot in common.
Silence! You see this weapon in my hand?
Oh, now we're going to get tough, eh?
It's a weapon such as you have never seen before.
One of your secret weapons?
One of them. The missile fired from this weapon strikes its target. It explodes, completely shattering the victim.
My. Would you mind demonstrating it by putting it against your head and pulling the trigger?
Insolent fool. I'll place it against your head unless you speak, and speak quickly. Now, look, I aim it now between your eyes. Now, speak. Tell me where is Superman or I'll...
It's a good bluff, buddy, but it won't work. I know you won't do anything to me until you've found Superman.
Really?
And just between you and me, you're not going to find him until he wants you to.
He must be here somewhere, and I will find him. I think he seeks to play a trick on me. Make me delay my invasion of the Earth, a trick he plays with your assistance.
My assistance?
Yes, you too are an Earthling. One whom Superman undoubtedly brought with him today when he came from Earth with my traitorous fool Poco.
Wait a minute. Who said I'm from the Earth?
I say so. You wear the same clothing as the other Earthling. The young one who came with Antar and Poco. Tell me, know you the Earthling called James Olsen?
Olsen? See, I know a man named Olsen, about 50 years old, red hair. And I know a Mrs. Olsen. She keeps a little store, sells candy, newspapers, stuff like that. She the one you mean?
I said James Olsen, Earthling.
James Olsen.
Well, I think you deliberately avoid a direct answer.
Why should I?
I think you know that, too. A moment. I shall prove it.
Hey, what are you dragging me down here for?
Yes, why are you dragging him down here? I tell you, my name is John Smith. I'm John Smith, and I don't see why I should know anyone named James Olsen.
I say be silent.
I will not. I'm tired of being bullied and insulted.
One more word and I'll shoot.
Here is the Earthling, sire.
Now, you, Olsen, know you this man in the cell?
Gee whiz.
Why do you expect him
Silence! Earthling Olsen, who is this man in the cell?
Him? I never saw him before.
Good boy, Jim. Do not seek to fool me. I say you do know him.
No, I don't, Zeram.
Perhaps I'm mistaken, but it does not matter. I shall find Superman. Then both of you and he shall die together. Lanthar and Poco as well. Guard, put Olsen in the cell with the other Earthling.
Yes, sire.
Stay within sight of the cell so there can be no more escapes, or I'll have your head.
Yes, sire. In with you, Earthling.
Hey, quit pushing.
You two will hear from me later. Meanwhile, prepare to die.
Turning on his heel, the vicious Zeram strode off, leaving Jimmy in the cell with me under the puzzled but zealous surveillance of the guard. Jimmy could hardly wait to engage me in conversation, but I cautioned him to restrain his curiosity until the guard moved away or relaxed. I knew that we were yet far from being safe.
In just a moment, we'll return for the startling climax of today's episode of Clark Kent's thrilling story. So keep listening.
Say, think of the thrill, gang, someday soon when you have all 18 comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep collected and pinned on your jacket or your dress or your cap for everybody to see. Boy, will that be a day. You'll really feel like strutting your stuff because these Pep comic buttons are just about the best-looking things you ever saw. Real, true-to-life pictures of your favorite funny paper characters done up in bright red and blue and yellow and black on a gleaming white background. Mighty snappy-looking. So you better hop to it, gang. Check over your collection tonight and see how close you are to getting the whole series, all 18 of them, including Brenda Starr and Cindy and Spud and the little Moose, Goofy and Beezy, and Superman, of course. Then get busy and remind Mom to get you some more Kellogg's Pep so that you can complete your collection. That's the only way you can get these Pep comic buttons, you know. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you get a comic button inside every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. Say, here's something else you get in a package of those super delicious whole wheat flakes. Doggone good eating. Yes, sir, a bowl of Pep for breakfast means a head start toward a happy day, because your appetite really takes to that catchy sunshine flavor. So ask Mom for lots of P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now back to Clark Kent's fascinating narrative of Superman's most unusual adventure.
After leaving the excited Jimmy Olsen in a dungeon cell with me, Zaram hurried up to his council chamber, where a moment later he engaged the captain of his guards in conversation.
Well, what do you say to me, Captain Teller?
As yet, we have not found the one called Superman, sire.
Why not? He must be somewhere near.
I cannot understand it, sire. It would be impossible for him of the Red Cape to escape my secret police unless...
Unless what?
Well, you see, sire, I have made a search of Anthar's house. There I found some strange documents.
What sort of documents?
Relating to the one called Superman. They say how he can fly through the air swift as light, how he can demolish great mountains.
I know all that.
How his eyes can see through steel. Such a fabulous one might well have escaped us by taking to the sky and flying through space.
No, I say Superman plays some trick on us.
A trick, sire?
Yes. Somehow he conspired with the other Earthling who calls himself John Smith, and perchance with James Olsen, too. But I have hopes I shall discover their trick.
How, sire?
I've had the Earthling Olsen placed in the same cell with the one called John Smith. Then I instructed the guard to leave them alone at the end of 1,000 lapsed revolutions. I'm convinced they know each other. They may reveal the secret of Superman's disappearance to me.
But if the guard is not there to overhear them...
Stupid one! In the cell below this council room in which an instrument is concealed in the stone ceiling. 1,000 lapsed revolutions have passed. Now the guard will leave their cell. Merely turn this switch. There. Now listen.
There goes the guard down the hall, Mr. Kent. Now, tell me how you got here, and where's Superman? Wait a minute, Jim. Wait till he's further away.
You hear, Captain Teller? Did I not say the two Earthlings knew each other?
You are wonderfully clever, sire.
He told me his name is Smith, but Olsen called him Kent.
He can't hear us now. No, he's too far away. Jeepers. When I came down here and heard your voice, I almost passed out. Tell me...
your head, though, Jim. I was proud of you. I wasn't sure you'd catch on, but I didn't want you to recognize me.
How could I miss it the way you were yelling? Say, do you suppose Saran caught on, too?
I don't know. I think he's pretty clever.
You're not kidding. But look, tell me how you got here on this planet, and where Superman is. I'm so dizzy, I don't know if I'm coming or going.
Well, you see, Jim, it's like this.
Go on. I'm listening.
And so are we listening, sire?
We are indeed, Captain Teller. We are indeed.
I don't know why, unless it was because Jimmy's excitement was so contagious, but I overlooked the necessity for caution, forgot all about my former hunch, and began talking, completely unaware that the crafty Zaram had his ear glued to a listening device.
Things really begin to happen to the Man of Steel at this point in Clark Kent's story of Superman's most unusual adventure. So whatever you do, don't miss tomorrow's thrilling episode of The Mystery of the Lost Planet. Yes, be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, do you know what it means when Kellogg's Rice Krispies go snap, crackle, and pop in milk? Why, it means they're crisp. Crisp as crisp can be. Sure, Kellogg's Rice Krispies are the only cereal so crisp they snap, crackle, and pop. That's why you see so much of those three famous little elves, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. They stand for the crispiness of Kellogg's Golden Bubbles of Oven-Popped Rice. The one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent continues his story of Superman's most unusual adventure and reveals how the Man of Steel almost came to an untimely end on the planet Utopia.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal, Dan McCullough. Say, around our neighborhood, the kids are really turning on the steam these days. Sure, they're racing like anything to see who'll be the first to collect all 18 comic buttons. You know, the swell prizes all the gang's collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Of course, I don't know yet who that fellow or girl will be, but I do know that somebody's going to be mighty proud to sport all those Pep comic buttons on his jacket or dress or cap. They're so doggone smart-looking, real true-to-life pictures of your favorite comic strip characters like, Chief Brandon and the Little Moose and Superman, too. And think of the fun you'll have rounding out your collection. And say, there'll be lots more fun, too, because I'm going to have some exciting news for you pretty soon. So don't miss out. Remind Mom to get you plenty of Kellogg's Pep. Now, look, you don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But there's an exciting prize every time you open a package of Kellogg's Pep. And there's good eating, too, because these are the whole wheat flakes with a sunny golden toasted flavor. Why, Mom's glad to see you polish off your breakfast bowl of Pep because you get energy vitamin B1 plus good old sunshine vitamin D. So ask Mom to get you some P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. In writing a feature story on Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent recalled how the tremendous force of gravity on the planet Utopia held him fast to the ground when he went to Utopia to rescue Jimmy Olsen. Now, Kent continues with his story. Listen.
With Jimmy's life hanging in the balance, I took a desperate chance to gain time by resuming my disguise and, as Clark Kent, telling the astonished Regent Zaram that Superman had escaped. Suspicious, the crafty Zaram had Jimmy placed in my cell with me, then arranged for our guard to walk away. Naturally, then, Jimmy and I began to talk, neither one of us aware that the evil Regent was listening in on our conversation through a listening device that had completely escaped my notice.
My compliments, sire. Setting up this listening device was exceedingly clever of you.
I agree, Captain Teller. Now I expect we will learn how Superman escaped and where he hides.
Out of earshot now, Mr. Kent.
Quietly speak.
For the love of Mike, please tell me where Superman is and how you got here. Well, you see, Jim, it's like this. Yeah? Go on, I'm listening.
Well, so are we.
Yes, we are indeed, Captain.
You mean when he flew here with Poco? Yes,
Just as I
guess
thought.
you could say that. You guess? Well... Gee whiz, what are you acting so mysterious about? Am I being mysterious?
Think you he suspects the listening device, sire?
I think not. Listen.
Just as you always do when we talk about Superman and you. No, you're imagining things. No, I'm not. But skip it for now. Just tell me how Superman managed to get out of this cell. When the last time I saw him, he was stuck to the floor because of the pull of gravity.
Now it comes. Listen carefully, Captain.
Must I answer that, Jim? Do you know the answer? Well... don't play games with me, Mr. Kent. Do you or don't you know how Superman got out of here?
Peering at me with suspicion growing in his eyes, Jimmy had backed me into a very uncomfortable spot. I couldn't tell a deliberate lie. Yet the truth might prove embarrassing, even damaging to the secret of my true identity. So, still unaware that Zaram and the captain of his guards were listening in, I had to continue being evasive.
Look, Mr. Kent, I'm just worried about our chances of getting off this planet. So, I want to know if Superman is still here, or did he go back to Earth? That's all.
Answer him, stubborn earthling. This I too must know.
Superman is still on Utopia. He is?
You hear that, Teller?
Yes, sire.
Let anyone find that out? Of course not. Where is he? Well, that I can't tell you, except that he's not far from where we are right now.
Just what I wanted to know.
Has he licked this force of gravity on Utopia?
That's good to know.
But I think he will soon now. He's got to lick it soon. Because I happen to know Zaram's planning to invade the Earth day after tomorrow.
You hear?
Quiet, you fool.
How do you know? He told me. Superman's got to stop him. Because He's got some terrific secret weapons.
Really?
Yeah. He showed me one of them.
What?
A little glass ball no bigger than a marble with some secret explosive inside it. He made me throw it at a big statue, and the statue broke into 1,000,000 pieces.
It did?
Uh-huh. Gosh, Mr. Kent, we've got to do something.
You're not kidding. We've got to think fast and keep Zeram worried until Superman's strength comes back.
Zeram will not worry, my friend.
I'm sure of it. It's coming back very slowly now.
How are we going to keep Zeram worried? About what?
About Superman, of course. We've got to make him believe Superman returned to Earth. While he thinks that, he won't dare try an invasion. Great Scott!
What's the matter?
Don't say a word, Jim.
But what?
Quiet, I said. There's a dictograph in this cell.
Sire, he's discovered the listening device.
Where?
Matters not now, Teller. I need it no more since I have learned what it is important for me to know.
But how could he possibly see it when it is embedded so deeply in the stone ceiling?
I believe I know. Yes, I'm quite sure I know. He is clever, the earthling called Kent. Not clever enough to fool Zeram.
Of course not, sire.
Captain Teller, I think I know where Superman is.
You know?
Yes, I believe I do. Have your men carry the earthling Kent into the courtyard. I wish to conduct an experiment. A most interesting experiment.
Detail! Halt! Here is the Earthling Kent, sire.
What do you want with me, Zeram?
That you will soon learn. Now, Captain, command your men to set him down.
Set the prisoner down.
Now, order your men to line up against the courtyard walls, Captain.
Detail! Attention! Forward! Halt! Detail! Halt!
Earthling Kent. Or do you still prefer to call yourself John Smith?
It doesn't matter. What's in a name?
A great deal. If your name is what I think it is.
What are you getting at?
Just this. Young Earthling Olson told you of a demonstration I permitted him to witness this evening, did he not?
What demonstration?
Come, you know very well. I heard him tell you how astounded he was when he saw a tiny glass sphere no larger than a marble destroy a great statue in my garden.
So what?
He told you, too, that the tiny sphere contained a powerful explosive. One of Utopia's secret weapons with which we shall conquer the Earth.
You mean you think you'll conquer the Earth?
I know I shall. And with Superman helpless here on Utopia, who can stop?
Who said Superman's on Utopia?
You said so yourself, Earthling, only a few minutes ago. Is it not so, Teller?
Yes, sire, it is so.
Oh, you heard me say that to Jim Olson. You see, I knew that dictograph was in the ceiling of our cell all along, so I just said what I did to stall you along, to give Superman plenty of time to get back to Earth.
Superman travels with phenomenal speed, even faster than our space shells, is that not so?
Well,
Why, then, was it necessary for him to have, as you put it, plenty of time?
Why, he had to free himself from the force of gravity of your planet.
As you seek to do now?
Huh? What do you mean?
I see you struggling to lift your feet from the ground. Continue to try. It will avail you nothing. As it also avails Superman nothing.
Now, wait a minute.
Captain Teller, step back with me a few paces.
Yes, sire.
This will do. Now, you both observe what I hold in my hand.
The secret explosive. Be careful, sire. If you drop it, it will blow us all into eternal space.
I shall not drop it. Earthling Kent, this tiny sphere contains our deadly secret explosive. I intend to demonstrate it for you as I did for your friend, the Earthling Olson. This time I will not hurl it at a statue of stone and metal. You, a living being, shall be my target.
With his face twisted into a hideous grimace, the evil Zeram held a deadly missile poised, ready to hurl at me, as I stood helplessly rooted to the ground by the terrific force of Utopia's gravity. If he threw it, and I was left unharmed, the secret of my true identity, which he suspected, would at last be revealed. What was I to do?
In just a moment, we'll return for the amazing climax in today's episode of Clark Kent's fascinating story. So keep listening.
You know, gang, when you think of all the exciting fun you've had completing your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep, and when you think that there'll be lots more exciting fun and some thrilling news pretty soon, well, isn't it swell that you get such a kick out of eating Pep? Because you wouldn't want to miss out on a single one of these 18 buttons. You want Judy and Clarky and Tess Trueheart and Superman and all the rest. And boy, will you feel like strutting around when you have all these Pep comic buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap for everybody to see. And you wouldn't want to miss that thrill, no, sir. So how's about asking Mom to get you another package or two of Kellogg's Pep? Because that's the only way you can finish off your collection of comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But there's a comic button inside every package of Pep you open, and there's some mighty good eating for you, too. Why, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's loaded with catchy, sunny toasted flavor, crisp and fresh as can be. So doggone delicious, in fact, that, well, your spoon just naturally keeps digging in again and again for more. So tell Mom that you want Pep for breakfast every day. And get your prizes from P.E.P., the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now back to Clark Kent's narrative of Superman's most unusual adventure.
Obviously enjoying the show he was staging, Zaram, cruel regent of Utopia, held the deadly explosive missile poised to hurl at me as he called out,
"Now then, I shall proceed with my experiment. Observe the Earthling well, Captain."
"Wait! Don't throw that!"
"Silence! It's too late to stop now, Earthling Kent. Now then..."
"Oh, sire! What is that?"
"Thunder, of course. Come out of my way."
"Wait! That's not thunder! The sound comes from below."
"Great space, it does indeed, sire. The ground shakes beneath our feet."
"You are right. What can it be?"
"You hear that, sire?"
"Yes, it's like a gigantic cracking. What means this?"
"I fear it means our planet is at last being shattered into eternal space, sire."
No, it cannot be. According to our scientists' reckoning, the day for that is not yet here."
"He's right, Zaram. He's right."
"Yes, it has come. The rumbling and the cracking. Utopia is breaking apart, sire. We're doomed."
Panic-stricken, Zaram and his guards stood rooted with fear as the great rending, rumbling roar rose to a crescendo and the ground shook and cracked under their feet. And I, too, still unable to move, stood helpless to save Jimmy and his friends. Utopia's doom, I was certain, meant Superman's doom, too.
What happened then? How does Superman, apparently helpless, manage to save his friends and himself? Tomorrow's episode in Clark Kent's story of Superman's most unusual adventure runs at a thrill-a-minute pace. So don't miss it, whatever you do. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, do you know how crisp Kellogg's Rice Krispies are? So crisp they snap, crackle, and pop in milk. Sure, that's their song of crispiness. Means that these golden bubbles of oven-popped rice are crisp as crisp can be. Whenever you see those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop in cartoons or on the Rice Krispies package, think of how light and delicate and crisp this grand breakfast dish is. Tomorrow morning, ask Mom for the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, in this exciting narrative of Superman's most unusual adventure, Clark Kent tells how he almost perished in his effort to save Jimmy Olsen on the planet Utopia.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, they say that time flies. And you know, nowadays, when you're busy rounding out your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep, why, it seems like time flies with the speed of Superman. Why, almost before you know it, you're close to having all 18 buttons in the series. And it's mighty exciting and loads of fun, too. Exciting fun when Mom opens a new package of Pep to see which button is inside. Maybe Cindy, or Vitamin Flintheart, or Superman himself. And thrilling fun to exchange duplicates with your pals, too. And doggone wonderful fun wearing all your Pep comic buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. And there'll be lots more fun, too, because something new and exciting is coming along soon. So you better get busy on your collection, gang. Finish it off. Better remind Mom right now that you're in the market for plenty of Kellogg's Pep. That's how easy it is, you know. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these prizes anywhere. But you get a comic button in every package of Pep you open. And you get some grand eating, too, because these whole wheat flakes are loaded with that sunny golden toasted flavor. Crisp and fresh and tasty as can be. A swell breakfast dish. That's the Sunshine Cereal, gang. P-E-P. Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. As you know, Clark Kent has been assigned to write a feature story on Superman's most unusual adventure. Let's join him now as he continues to recall his experiences on the planet Utopia.
Unable to free myself from the terrific force of gravity on Utopia, I tried to stall Jimmy's execution by assuming the guise and garb of Clark Kent. And it seemed to work. But Zaram, wily regent of Utopia, tricked me by placing Jimmy in my cell and eavesdropping on our conversation. Apparently, Zaram heard enough to make him suspect that Kent and Superman were one and the same, and to prove his theory, had me brought out into the palace courtyard. There, he was about to hurl a powerful explosive at me, when suddenly a deep rumbling sound rose and swelled as the ground trembled underfoot. Alarmed, Zaram's captain of the guards called out,
"You hear that, sire?
Gigantic cracking. What means this?
I fear, sir.
Yes, speak.
I fear our planet is beginning to shatter and fall into eternal space.
No, it cannot be. My astrologer, my scientists, they said it would not happen until 5 days hence.
Well, here it is, like it or not.
What shall we do, sire? What shall we do?
Wait. The rumbling is diminishing. The ground shakes less.
Oh, but we'll grow worse again shortly, sire.
Then I must see my astrologer at once. I go to my council room. Fetch me my astrologer.
But what of this earthling Kent, sire?
Leave him here. Hurry! My astrologer! Well, speak up, Master Astrologer. What say you? Why does this rumbling and cracking come now, 5 days before your forecast?
Well, sire, it would appear I made a slight error in my calculations.
You hear that, Captain Teller? A slight error, he says.
I regret that, sire. But after all, I am but an astrologer. I can read the mysterious forces of nature, but I cannot control them.
Nor can you accurately read them, stupid dolt. Much wealth I gave you for your knowledge and advice. You agreed it was safe to begin my invasion of the Earth on the day after tomorrow. Now we are lost.
Now we cannot even save ourselves. We, sire, you and I must perish too.
No, Zaram. There is one way you can yet save yourselves and your warriors, and proceed with your invasion of the Earth as planned.
Tell me, quickly.
Listen carefully, sire. As you see, it is now but a few lapsed revolutions beyond 9 o'clock. At exactly 11 o'clock occurs the moment in solar time in which your space shells can travel to the planet Earth.
What good is that? We shall be dead long before. Why, at any moment, Utopia will break apart.
Who says that, Captain Taylor?
2 of our men of science. They told me how 100 years ago, when the last disaster occurred, it struck within 1/2 hour after the first great rumbling and cracking.
Yeah, that is true. But this time I know definitely that disaster will not strike until between the hours of midnight and 1 o'clock of tomorrow morning.
You are certain of that?
I am quite certain, sire. I assure you that disaster will not strike until a good hour after you and your warriors depart for the Earth.
It is not true. It cannot be true.
I swear I speak truth.
You seek to deceive us.
Wait. Perhaps he does speak the truth.
But the scientists say...
They could be wrong and my master astrologer right.
I am right, sire.
There may still be time for me to proceed with my plans, to launch my warriors and my secret weapons and the waiting space shells.
I assure you there is yet time, sire.
Good. Captain Teller, give the order for my warriors to assemble at the space shells.
One moment. I have remembered something, sire.
What is that? Quickly, time flies.
Superman. If he has escaped to his home on Earth, he may foil our invasion.
I do not think he has escaped.
How can you know? Did he not disappear from the cell where we found the Earthling Clark Kent?
I say I do not think he has escaped. I would I had time to make sure by proceeding with my experiment on the Earthling Kent. However, we must take the chance. No time can now be lost. Give the order for my warriors, Captain.
At once, sire. But what of the two Earthlings, Kent and James Olsen? And of the traitorous Anthar and Poco?
I have a fine plan for them. A fine plan. Come, I shall disclose it to you on the way, and you shall have the pleasure of carrying it out.
Mr. Kent!
Easy, Jim.
Prisoners Anthar, Poco, James Olsen. All out beside the Earthling Clark Kent.
Gee whiz, Mr. Kent. What's going to happen to us now?
Don't worry. Everything will be all right. I hope.
Oh, friend Clark Kent, this can't be true. Just this morning I saw you.
In Metropolis, I know. But look, Poco, please trust me and don't ask any questions.
Oh, when I needed aid, you did your part. Now I'll do mine with all my heart.
Good. Oh, if I can just break loose.
Gee whiz, Mr. Kent. With you held down like this and Superman not here, I'm afraid it's all up with us. But good.
No, it's not all up yet, Jim. Not yet.
Silence, prisoners. Now hear me. By the orders of Regent Zoram, you will remain in this courtyard, from where you may witness the departure of our warriors to the Earth.
Huh? What's that?
I was afraid of that. Oh, if I could only get loose.
The departure of our space shells will take place at 11 o'clock. And the bright moonlight will afford you an excellent view of our takeoff.
Mr. Kent, you hear that? He says they're going to invade the Earth tonight.
Yes, I heard him.
Listen further, prisoners. Shortly after our departure, this planet is doomed to be shattered into eternal space. And you will be shattered with it.
What? Oh, no, it won't. Anthar said we had 5 days yet. Hey, Anthar! Anthar, what are you shaking your head for? Why don't you say something?
No, Anthar grieves in silent pain. He has no heart to speak again.
Mr. Kent, why don't you say something? Usually when we're in a bad spot, you think of something.
I can only think I've got to get loose in time to stop Zoram.
Well, how could you stop him, even if you could get loose?
I know a way.
You do? Well, what is it? Tell it to us. Maybe we can...
No, only I can... Wait! I'm gaining a little against this heavy gravity, but it's slow work.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
If only Superman could know how will our winds of fortune blow.
Not even Superman can help us now, Poco. The force of gravity would hold him down, too. Just like it does Mr. Kent.
No, this time I tell you, James, my friend, this is the dark and bitter end.
As the rumblings and grinding noises that signified Utopia's doom increased in intensity, I continued to strain and struggle against the force that held me rooted, helpless, almost willing to admit that this was indeed the end for Jimmy and for Superman.
In a moment, we'll return for a startling climax in today's episode of Clark Kent's story. So keep listening.
You know, gang, you'd feel mighty disappointed some day soon if all your pals were rounding out their collections of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep, and you weren't pretty near to getting all 18 buttons, too. You know, you'd kind of like to be the first to sport the whole complete collection on your jacket or your dress or cap. And, of course, you want to be in on the fun of swapping duplicates with your pals, too. And every single one of these Pep comic buttons is so doggone smart-looking that, well, you don't want to miss a single one. You want the Little Moose and Pat Patton and Superman and all the others. So right now is a pretty good time to remind Mom to get you some more of that sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep, so that you'll be all ready when I bring you that exciting news that I've been hinting at. Yep, you get your comic button collection complete. Now, you don't have to send it any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy these prizes anywhere, but every time you open a package of Kellogg's Pep, look for your comic button inside. And say, you better look for some mighty good eating, too, because Pep is a super delicious breakfast dish. Every crispy whole wheat flake is loaded with that golden toasted sunshine flavor that hits just the right spot on a spring morning. So ask Mom to get you plenty of P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now back to Clark Kent's exciting story of Superman's most unusual adventure.
Buildings toppled and mountains crumbled as the planet Utopia continued to disintegrate. And still the terrific force of gravity held me in its vice-like grip, while time grew shorter and shorter. Suddenly, the sound of a gong was heard from a point nearby, cutting clearly through the noise of destruction.
Poco, what do those gongs mean?
No, the time grows short. The hours have gone by. Within a few minutes, we shall die.
A few minutes?
Yes. Oh, endless sorrow. Oh, boundless woe. Our lives have but a few minutes to go.
Mr. Kent, what do we do? What do we do?
Oh, I'm afraid it's no use, Jim.
Oh, no.
I can't budge.
Mr. Kent, look. A big crack's opening in the ground near us. Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent. Poco, what happened to Mr. Kent?
Oh, one moment he was here. But then there was no trace. Well, I fear he's vanished into space.
Oh, no. Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent.
This is the end. Farewell, my friend.
Poco, I'm falling.
Faster and faster, with great grinding, shattering rumbles, the huge gash in Utopia's surface widened further and still further. Then as I hurtled into space, the bulk of the planet tore completely away, bearing Jimmy Olsen, Poco, and the now unconscious Anthar with it.
Don't fail to hear Clark Kent's thrilling climax of Superman's most unusual adventure and the beginning of a new and exciting story. Tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the sunshine cereal. Snap, crackle, pop. Say, that's a swell song to hear at the breakfast table, isn't it, gang? Means that your bowl of Kellogg's Rice Krispies is crisp as crisp can be. Means doggone good eating. Why, these golden bubbles of oven-popped rice are so fresh and crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk. That's why those famous little elves, named Snap, Crackle, and Pop, are around so much these days in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package to remind you to ask Mom for the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the sunshine cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent completes his story of Superman's most unusual adventure and turns it in for publication, unaware that Lois Lane is foolishly walking into a mystery that will lead him into another dangerous adventure.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, talk about big moments. Why, think how thrilled you're going to be one of these days when you have completed your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. You'll really feel like strutting around when you have all 18 buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap for everybody to see. And that won't be the end of your fun either. No, sir, there'll be lots more when I bring you some mighty exciting news. You see, these pep comic buttons have made a real hit with fellows and girls in the gang, and no wonder. The colors are so bright and clear, and Spud and Pat Patton and Superman and all the others look so lifelike that, well, you wouldn't want to miss out on a single one. And you know the best part is, it's so easy to get these pep comic buttons. You just ask Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy these prizes anywhere. But look for one inside every package of Pep you open. That's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, the sunny golden toasted whole wheat flakes that make breakfast such good eating. Yes, sir, Pep certainly makes your appetite sit up and take notice on a spring morning. So ask Mom to get you several packages. Tell her that you want the good eating and the prizes from P.E.P., the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. While writing the story of Superman's most unusual adventure on assignment from editor Perry White, Clark Kent recalled his harrowing experiences on the planet Utopia. Listen now as Kent continues.
In all my life, no one ever came so close to discovering the secret of my true identity as did Zaram, cruel regent of Utopia. In fact, he was just on the verge of an experiment that would have confirmed his suspicions when the disintegration of the planet began. Immediately then, he ordered his army into waiting space shells and took off for an invasion of the Earth. Held helpless by the terrific force of gravity on Utopia, I was left to die with Jimmy and his friends Anthar and Poco. Then, one moment I was talking with Jimmy, a second later I disappeared from view as the ground opened under my feet and I plummeted down into darkness.
Mr. Kent! Mr. Kent! Poco, what happened to Mr... Holy smokes! The ground's cracking right under us. Look out, Poco! I'm falling! I'm falling!
As Jimmy and Poco fell into a yawning chasm, Utopia leaped clear of its orbit in the firmament and, like the finale of a holiday fireworks display, exploded into 1,000 pieces that zoomed through the heavens as if they were fireballs flung from a gigantic Roman cannon. Free at last of the tremendous force of gravity that had held me immobile, I fought my way through mountains of stone, steel, and the rubble of broken buildings in a frenzied effort to find Jimmy. Then, just as I was about ready to give up, I saw the tiny figures of Jimmy and Poco hurtling toward me. Blasting my way toward them through tons of flying debris, I gathered up their unconscious forms and, covering them with my cape, rocketed through into clear space. As I paused then for a moment to take breath, gather strength, Jimmy opened his eyes.
Where am I?
You're safe with me, Jim.
Superman!
That's right.
Oh, boy, am I glad... Holy smokes.
What's the matter, Jim?
Poco. Poor Poco.
Poco'll be okay. He's unconscious, but safe enough. Here, under my other arm.
Oh, jeepers, that's swell. I was what... Oh, golly.
Now what?
What happened to Mr. Kent and Anthar?
Don't worry about Kent. He's all right.
Gee whiz, how do you know?
Just take my word for it. Now, about Anthar, well...
He's gone?
I'm afraid so.
Poor guy.
It is a pity, Jim. But I'm sure he would have wanted to go that way, with his people.
I guess so.
Now, we've got to get back to Metropolis.
Yeah, but can you find your way back?
Maybe, but I'm not going to just trust my own sense of direction. I'm going to let Zaram show me the way home.
Zaram?
Right. He's leading his army in a fleet of space shells for what he thinks will be an invasion of Earth. Well, we'll let him lead us through space to the orbit of our planet. Then I'll take care of his boys before they get a chance to do any damage. Now, watch how fast we catch up with them. Away! Like an arrow shot from a giant bow, I streaked away in pursuit of Zaram's space shells. Soon I caught up with him, and still carrying Jimmy and Poco, I trailed the regent and his army through the vast reaches of space. Then, with Earth in sight, I no longer needed their help to find my way, and rocketing by the Utopian Armada, I zoomed toward Metropolis. A few moments later, I landed on the roof of the Daily Planet. There we are.
Daily Planet, last stop, all out.
Gee whiz, Superman. I don't know how to thank you.
Don't bother, Jim. Just see that Poco is taken care of. Now, I've got to...
but wait a minute. What about Mr. Kent?
Don't worry about Kent. He'll be along soon. Now, I've got to take care of Zaram and his bad boys before they get a chance to use their secret weapons here. So long, Jim.
So long. And good luck, Superman.
Thanks. Up, and away! Hurtling back up into the sky, I met Zaram's army just as his space fleet was entering the Earth's stratosphere. Gathering speed, I crashed into the spearhead of the V formation. The force of my impact causing the powerful explosives inside the lead space shell to shatter it into 1,000 pieces. As the others fell out of formation, I picked them off one by one, chasing them through the heavens until all 7 of the tremendous space shells bearing Zaram and his fighting force were wiped out of existence. Then, plenty tired, even for Superman, I returned to the Daily Planet, and resuming my guise and garb of Clark Kent, returned to write the story of of Superman's adventure. And so Poco, who, like Superman, was born on another planet, came to live on Earth. Hey, that does it.
Hiya, Mr. Kent.
Oh, hello, Beanie. Come on in.
Thanks. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Kent.
Well, that's all right. I was just going to yell for you anyhow.
You were?
Uh-huh. I want you to take the last pages of this story to the city room.
Gee whiz, what a coincidence.
Coincidence?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Oh.
I mean, Mr. Burroughs sent me to see if you have any more copy because he's making up the Sunday magazine section and...
I see. Well, run along to Burroughs with this.
Okay.
I'll go in and tell the chief I've finished.
Oh, gee whiz. I wouldn't go into Mr. White's office if I were you.
Why? What's up?
I don't know, except he's hitting the ceiling. Something about Miss Lane.
Lois? What's she do now?
Search me.
Well, I'll find out right now.
Disregarding Beanie's admonition, Clark Kent strides toward Perry White's office to find out why the editor is so furious with Lois Lane, unaware that what he is about to learn will lead him into a new and dangerous adventure as Superman. We'll be back in a moment for the suspenseful climax of today's episode, so keep listening.
Say, you fellows know how often the girls win out in spelling bees or reading contests? Well, don't you let the girls get ahead of you and finish off their collections of Kellogg's Pep comic buttons before you do. No, sir, you want to be in there pitching. Sure, you'd like to complete your collection before the girls do. And besides, I'm going to have something new and exciting to tell you one day soon, so get busy and round out your whole series of comic buttons. Hey, you'll get a kick out of those true-to-life pictures of funny paper characters, like the little moose with his funny face and feather in his hair, and fat, slap-happy Beezy. And Superman himself, complete with bright blue jersey and flying red cape and Superman insignia. Yes, sir, these Pep comic buttons look terrific when you wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. So, fellas, don't you let the girls get ahead of you. And girls, don't you let the fellas get ahead of you either. Everybody pitch in. It's easy, you know. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. And you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere. But every time you open a package of Kellogg's Pep, there's your snappy prize. And there's some mighty snappy eating, too, because Pep is a whiz of a breakfast cereal. Tastes so crisp and sunny and golden toasted you practically can't resist it. So ask Mom to get P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As we continue now, Clark Kent has just entered Perry White's office in time to hear the gray-haired editor shout into his telephone.
Miss Backrack, you call Wilson on the Morning Blade and tell him he can stop trying to steal my reporters. Tell him he can have Lois Lane on his payroll as of now because I'm through with her.
What?
You heard me. She's fired.
What's the matter with you, Chief?
That'll teach her not to disregard orders.
What happened?
When I say no, I mean no. I'm the boss around here.
Chief,
and I don't want a lead followed up. It's because my superior experience tells me it's a phony.
Sure, Chief, sure.
And neither Lois Lane nor you nor any other reporter working for me can disregard my orders and get away with it. Do you understand?
Oh, for the love of Mike, Chief, will you please calm down long enough to tell me what's going on? What order did Lois disregard? Where is she?
She's up in Canada, the North Fishing Banks. Against my explicit orders to the contrary.
What in heaven's name is she doing up there?
Chasing a wild goose, that's what.
What do you mean?
Well, here's the story. You remember that crackpot correspondent we've got in Squeen Run?
Squeen Run? Oh, you mean Horatio F. for French Horn?
Yes, Horatio F. for Phooey Horn would be better.
Or F for fish in this case.
Well, what about it?
Well, a few days ago he came to see me. All steamed up over what he thinks is a terrific yarn that's brewing up there in that fishing territory.
Uh-huh.
A cock and bull story that began stewing in his bird brain when a very rich man who lives in Squeen Run stopped getting his regular weekly shipments of a rare fish that he relishes for breakfast. Shipments that used to be flown in for him from the North Banks and then suddenly stopped.
What?
Because the fishermen have stopped going out on their regular runs, and Horn thinks it's all tied up to something mysterious.
Well, maybe it is.
What? Great Caesar, don't tell me that you go for that, too.
I didn't say that, Chief. I only said maybe it is.
Chief, I mean, Mr.
Yes,
White.
what do you want?
Miss Backrack told me to give you this telegram. It's from Miss Lane, and she
From
thought...
Lois?
Yeah, Mr. Kent. Miss Backrack...
Never mind what she thought. Go on, beat it, beat it.
Yes, sir, Mr. White.
Well, how do you like this for nerve?
What does she say, Chief?
Now, listen to this for sheer gall.
What?
Convinced Horatio Horn right again. Looks like real big story brewing here. I'm taking long chance to dig it up.
What does she mean by a long chance, I wonder?
Why, nothing. She's just being cute. Now, listen. If you don't hear from me within 24 hours, suggest you contact Superman.
Contact Superman?
Yes. How do you like that?
I don't like it at all, Chief. Sounds to me as if Lois is afraid of what she's walking into.
Clark Kent is right. Lois Lane doesn't know what she and the eccentric correspondent Horatio Horn are walking into. If she did, she'd be more than tempted to stop her investigation before she really begins. Monday we begin a new Superman adventure that deals with deep mystery born of dark superstition on the stormy, fog-bound shores of the North Atlantic. So be sure not to miss a minute of it. And remember, if your community observes daylight time, starting next week, this program will be heard at the same hour. If you remain on standard time, it may be heard at a different hour. For exact broadcast time in your area, consult your local newspaper or mutual station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, let me tell you about a breakfast cereal that's fun to listen to and fun to eat. It's Kellogg's Rice Krispies, the Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal. Sure, you've seen those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop around in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. And you know how they can dish out the crispiness of those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice. So freshly crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk. Remind Mom to get you the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.